We'll get the scoring after just a little bit. But, Tom, we were here last night for one of the most exciting high school games we've had the chance to broadcast in a long while, as North Montgomery and North Putnam just flat out threw caution to the wind, threw about 150 shots up into the air at the net, and ended up with an 88-85 win.
Oh, yeah, we knew that there was going to be, at least we knew that North Putnam last night was going to attempt to put a lot of shots up. They came into the game last night averaging 17 three-point shots per contest. They threw up 26 three-point opportunities in a wild game that saw B.J. Slicker just go nuts for North Montgomery and get career-high numbers, 34 points, 22 rebounds, and there's still a debate as to what the assists are. That'll be worked out once they get a chance to check the game film to verify, because you don't want to rob B.J. of a triple-double on a big night like that. But more importantly, North did everything it needed to do, and it won a wild one, 88-85, their third win in a row.
Third win in a row, and that's a very important number, Tom, because you start establishing some credibility as Coach Dave Young, as our Linden State Bank pregame show interview we'll talk about. That was one of the things that Coach Young mentioned, as again we want to congratulate Dave Young, the head coach of North Montgomery, who last night earned his 200th head coaching career victory with that three-point thriller win here at home. He talked about that somewhat, about how important, and if you're a North Montgomery fan and have been listening to our broadcast over the course of this season, one of the things that Coach Young has consistently talked about is mental preparation from this no longer young team, but this team that plays a lot of sophomores and juniors, and how important it is to prepare yourself inside the gray matter. And 3 wins in a row, playing hard, playing well last night, makes the coaching staff feel good that the team is taking steps in the right direction.
And you talk about a young team. Last night, North Putnam was a team that had 7 seniors, and I talked at the coaches show this morning to Scott Kegley, one of the assistant coaches for North Montgomery, and he pointed out that last night was the first time that this Charger team has beaten a senior-laden team, and to him that means a whole bunch, that this is a North team that has 1 senior, no seniors in the starting lineup, and for them to come and beat a good senior-laden team is going to push them further ahead than beating 3 or 4 other teams will.
Second thing on tonight's ball game, Tom, again, as our Linden State Bank pregame show is continuing, and we'll get to the interviews. We also got a chance to talk with Dave Solman, the Zionsville head coach, who lost last night to Hamilton Southeastern at home, 53-50. The important part of tonight for North Montgomery is that they have not played well on the Saturday night of a doubleheader weekend, and really, Zionsville or no Zionsville, the fact that they're in the sectional is not tremendously important to North tonight. They want to be able to put 2 good games in a row together in 2 nights, because you're going to have to do that if you're going to have any aspirations of winning in March.
That's right, you are. And this is a Zionsville team. Now, North Montgomery has beaten Zionsville. They beat them twice last year. Beat them regular season, knocked them out of the sectional tournament. Zionsville is another one of those up-and-down teams. They're a team that doesn't put 2 games together very well. They played well last night, even though they lost by 3 points to Hamilton Southeastern. So it's going to be a big test. Last night, BJ probably doesn't have the game even close to what he had last night. North Montgomery would have lost that game. There are going to be some other guys that are probably going to have to step up. We got help last night. Ratcliffe steps up with his 20 points, tying his career high. There are going to be some other guys that are probably going to have to step up tonight, and that's one reason North has shaken up the starting lineup a little bit.
Just a little bit. The sophomore Sean Ratcliffe, who was fouled very, very hard at the very end of the ball game, did tie his career best with 20 points last night. What's his last free throw? Is not going to start tonight, but Sean has not started other games this season. Instead, John Sparks, another sophomore who has done an excellent job in handling the ball, is going to start at the point guard. And Coach Young talked again in our interviews, which will be coming up in a little while, talked about that. Because of Sparks' really, really good ball handling ability, North Montgomery is expecting to see some point pressure, especially from 6'3" senior guard for Zionsville, Brad Stevens, who's a very, very experienced senior. He's an excellent defensive player, plus he's a tremendous scoring threat. So John Sparks is in the lineup tonight, not so much because of Sean Ratcliffe doing anything good or bad, the fact that Sparks is a little bit taller and has a little bit better defensive capability right now.
And I tell you what, for IU fans or people familiar with IU's basketball game and their game against Michigan State, perfect analogy for John Sparks last night was late in the game they needed someone to handle the ball, to get guys that were hot the ball. John Sparks came in a la Neil Reed, who came in the late stages when IU was trying to hang on in their win against Michigan State Wednesday night, and that's what John Sparks is. He's capable of scoring if he has to, but that's not what he's on the floor. He's a defensive point guard, and he's somebody who feeds other guys the ball.
Sparks had no points last night, but has had games of 12. He had 12 against Greencastle and also had 9 rebounds against the Tiger Cubs just a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago here at home. He has games of 6. He has a couple games of 2, and as we mentioned, a game, of no points last night. So he plays the role that he is asked to do. As we mentioned, B.J. Slicker had a great game last night. Raised his scoring average almost 2 full points with his 34-point, 22-rebound effort last night. Jason McCormick struggled last night, but he has had highs of as many as 24 points. He had 24 against Sheridan when this win streak starts. He's averaging 14 points a contest. Jason Guinn had a great game last night. He had a season high. He had 7 points all in the fourth quarter against North Putt last night. A tremendous fourth quarter with those 3 field goals and a free throw.
And, Jason Guinn came into the game when Kevin Templeman got himself in foul trouble. And Jason had started, but had spent a lot of time on the bench only because North Putnam has a guy who's 6'6" in the middle. Well, when the game pace changed and the 6'6" guy goes out, Jason Guinn came in. He was able to post up inside, got the ball, easy spin moves. As Scott Kegley called him kind of the junk man. Well, any good team, a team that does well in the tournament, has a junk man. Somebody who will dive on the floor, get that loose ball, get the rebound, and put it back in. 2 offensive rebounds, 1 for a putback last night for Jason Guinn.
Looking on the other side of the coin, but just before we get into our interviews tonight with Coach Solomon and Coach Young, Brad Stevens averaging about 24 points a ball game for Zionsville is obviously the big gun on the outside for this Eagle squad, 4-5 on the year after losing 53-50 last night. They are not an offensive team, Tom. They have only put more than 50 points on the board twice this year, and on the other hand, though, they have not allowed over 60 points more than a couple times over the course of the season. We mentioned Stevens averaging 24. Jeff Brown is also a big gun. He had 22 points last night against Hamilton Southeastern. He had 20 points in the Eagle.
This is probably, as Joe Emick from the Lebanon radio station said, this is probably, in Zionsville, the best defensive team in the 6-team sectional that will be over at Lebanon this year. They're a team that is going to put a lot of pressure on you. They're going to force turnovers, and they're going to try and score off of that. If they don't have the turnovers, they're going to go to a set offense. They have pattern plays that they're going to run. They're going to be in no hurry. Very different from last night's game.
Certainly is. As our Linden State Bank pregame show gets started, we're going to talk with both Coach Solomon and Coach Young. I want to remind you that you're listening to High coming up tonight. Let's talk with Coach Dave Young about the exact same things after we congratulate Coach on his 200th career coaching win last night. Coach, congratulations on achieving a real, I know it's got to be a very satisfying milestone in your career.
It is, Jeff, but like I told you, it's something we're proud of, and, all the people associated with it. But now it's time to go on and start looking for the next one and, maybe reach the 300 plateau, but you don't do that unless you win the next one out. And this is a big game for us, double weekend. We haven't won one of those, so we've tried to put emphasis upon that.
It's also a team that you could possibly see in any round of the sectional tournament. This Eagle squad, certainly a team that everybody looks at as saying one of the better teams in the sectional, so I know you really want to play well against them tonight.
Well, it is. The year before I came, they played them to a last-second shot in the sectional, and then we took them out twice last year, and we'd like to keep them convinced that when they play us that, that it's going to be tough. You're going to have to play physical and run the ball, and we like to control the tempo, and we feel like that's important tonight.
As our listeners heard, Coach Solomon said the exact same thing. This is a team that only scored 50 last night. Your Chargers scored 88. Is it the irresistible force meeting the immovable object tonight?
Well, I don't know. They play with the ball more than we do, trying to get the ball to Stevens and then getting it inside to their two big kids. But, they're going to have to guard us on the other end. If they score, they're going to have to get back, and more we can run their big guys, and they got plenty of them. Why, it's going to be that much harder for them to play on the offensive end. And then Stevens, we're hoping that he'll have to guard somebody. We look for them to put him on Slicker, and possibly that'll help some too.
That strategy really worked last night against North Putnam as the big Miller kid was just winded badly, I know, midway through the second quarter, and really wasn't much of a factor in the whole second half.
Well, we thought so, and, he hit some shots early, but then his legs weren't there. He couldn't get anything underneath him to get any elevation, and I think BJ blocked one or two after that, or at least got a hand on it. And, that's kind of our philosophy, getting it up and down. We feel like we've got enough people that we can do that. And we might press them a little bit tonight, too, and see if that will make a difference. We won't start in it. We'll try to get settled down, and then, but we may come in with it early. It just kind of depends on how the game goes. They caused us a few matchup problems with the 2-6-5 kids, and we're starting John Edwards tonight at the point, and then we're going to put him on the big kid and put Guinn on Stevens. And then when he gets tired, we'll put either Edwards or Templeman on him and try to keep him, from getting in a flow of game, playing somebody different, bodying him up when we can, and that sort of thing.
Well, all those various strategies worked well the last couple games for the Chargers, now on a 3-game win streak. But it's how you won those 3 games. A lot of points against Sheridan, a good backcourt effort, a good press, a good forced a lot of turnovers against Greencastle, and last night you just flat out outscored a very high-scoring team. So the Chargers have managed to do the things it takes each individual game to win.
Well, that's true. And, last night we looked back over the game, and, you second-guess yourself all the way through it. I know the fans like to do that, but we do that too. And, we looked at our substitution rotation, and we felt like every time we made a substitution over the last 3 games that's paid off, and that's because the kids are ready to play. They're beginning to understand their roles and that type of thing. And, you can substitute, but if the kid isn't ready to go in and execute, it doesn't look like it's the right decision. So we've got 8 kids playing right now, and they're playing hard, and they all seem to understand their role. And as long as we do that and take care of the ball like we did last night, I think we'll have a good chance to win the game.
The Zionsville squad really a 1-2 punch with Stevens and Brown. Many of our fans or listeners may have remembered from the Crawfordsville game, you obviously got to look at trying to slow down their big scoring effort. And I know that defensively, the Chargers have been able to do that against high-scoring guys the last few games.
Well, we have, and there again, we've really put an emphasis upon our man-to-man defense, and we're running the matchup a little bit. And we've tried to convince the kids that we're going to beat some of these good teams. That's where we got to win it, because that gets us going on the offensive end, gets us some breakaways, and gets some easy shots, and they're buying into that right now. And hopefully we'll be able to do that tonight. They're, like I say, they're going to be a force inside. The paint's going to be key tonight, but by the same token, I think we can go with them. They're weak inside as far as they play behind the post, and then evidently from our game with Flickinger last year, they don't try to block many shots. So if we can get it in there, I think we can score and cause them some problems too.
Coach, your very first comment is something I'd like to get a bit back on and wrap our interview up with, and you mentioned a good, solid double weekend. The Chargers have not had one of those yet this season. How important is it to be mentally tough and play with a lot of intensity in this ball game tonight?
Well, it's extremely tough, we feel like with Zionsville that if we can come out and play them physical and play with a lot of aggression early, that we can get them down, and maybe they'll, kind of slack off a little bit, and that's the key. That's what we talked to the kids about this morning. We weren't able to get on the floor. We spent some time in the film room with the conference wrestling meet today. We couldn't get on, but so that'll be a test. We try to get them out and walk this afternoon or do something like that. So it's mental preparation. They'll have time. They'll have 15 minutes to get warmed up and be ready to play.
Game won by North Montgomery 49-35. The JVs spread their scoring out much like they did last night. They had one leading scorer. That was Chris Edwards. Chris had 20 last night. He had 16 tonight to lead the way for the Chargers. Junior varsity. Clint Calder finished the ball game with 7. Next up, we've got Nick Johnson with 5. Tim Flagg finished with 4. Tim, by the way, I think only has 1 quarter of eligibility for the varsity game tonight. Then it is 3 points for Craig Proctor, 2 points for Matt Prieb, 2 for Jeremy Horn, 2 for Jason Odom, and 2 for Jack Whitecotton. I want to get back into one. Brad LaFoon added 6 points for North JVs. Again, winners by 14 points. Nobody for Zionsville got into double figures. Wes Kendall had 7, Eric Levenhagen had 6, and Steve Hicks finished with 5 total points. And Tom, before we get the starting lineups introduced, I know we're going to have a couple of seconds to do all that. I'm going to let you talked about the conference wrestling match that went on here today. I know that we've got some individual champions. I'll let you run down a little bit of the...
Today For Southmont, they had Clint Deschemaker, who finished second. Ryan Vaught placed second at the 172-pound. At 185, Michael Ball was first, keeping him undefeated on the season. And at 275, the heavyweight division, Jamie Davis also remained undefeated on the season, and he won the conference championship. For North Montgomery,
and center at 6'5" senior number 43, Stephen Sumner. And forward at 6' senior number 13, Chip Barnes. The other forward at 6'5" junior number 33, Jeff Brown. The Eagles are coached by Mr. Dave Stoll. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here are your own North Montgomery Chargers. Starting at guard, a 6', 155-pound sophomore, number 25, Sean Radcliffe. Starting at the other guard, a 6'2", 180-pound sophomore, number 43, John Sparks. Starting at center, a 6', 190-pound junior, number 40, Jason Guinn. At forward, a 6', 150-pound sophomore, number 21, Jason McCormick. And at the other forward, a 6'5", 205-pound junior, number 44, B.J. Schumacher. The Chargers are coached by Mr. Dave Young, assisted by Scott Keckley.
Win, getting two calls that you normally can't get at home. They got two calls on the road at Iowa City, an absolute shocker. And if all you did was listen to the game, folks, I watched it on TV, turned the sound down, and listened to the radio broadcast of Larry Clisby and Steve Reed. If all you did was listen to it, the officiating wasn't quite as bad as Steve was making it out to be, although there was really some questionable stuff, as we mentioned. Let's quickly run down the starters for this high school basketball game here. First of all, for Zionsville, they'll start at the guards. As we mentioned earlier, Brad Stevens, a 6'3" senior who's averaging 24 points a game, and Brandon Monk is a 6' junior averaging only 5 points a contest. At the post will be Steve Sumner. He's a 6'5" senior averaging 6 points a game. Chip Barnes is one of the starting forwards, a 6' senior at 2.5 points a ball game, and Jeff Brown's a 6'5" junior averaging 12 points. We talked about the Chargers. Craig Edwards is one of the starting guards. He has a 2-point-per-game average as the opening tip is knocked out of bounds, and it will belong to, I believe, Zionsville.
it'll belong to North Montgomery.
Sorry, North Montgomery's going this direction for the first half tonight. John Sparks, as we noted earlier, 6'2" sophomore, is starting tonight in place of Sean Radcliffe. At the post is Jason Guinn, 6 foot and a junior. Jason McCormick and B.J. Slicker are the forwards starting for North Montgomery as the Chargers take control of the ball to start this ball game. Guinn has it on the left corner as the Chargers pass the ball around, a man-to-man defense employed by the Eagles early on. Slicker in the right corner on an entry pass tries to go down to Radcliffe, posting up, and so, Tom, I am surprised there was a last-second change in starting lineups. Sean Radcliffe is starting in place of Craig Edwards. So Edwards not starting tonight. Radcliffe is, and Sparks is in for him. As the first shot of the ball game is up, it's by Sparks. It's no good, and the rebound is pulled down by Zionsville's Steve Sumner. Here come the Eagles. We don't look for them to fast break much tonight. They'll move down to the line and onto the baseline into the paint. We have a traveling violation against Zionsville, and I was going to finish my thought. We will not see Zionsville on the fast break as many times as we saw North Platte last night.
Well, we won't see them nearly as well, but we've already seen Zionsville coming out just tough-nosed, man-to-man, guarding all 5 guys, and North's going to really have to work to get those shots tonight.
Here's an entry pass from Guinn down to Jason McCormick, and McCormick, who struggled from the field last night, gets his first shot to fall on a turnaround jumper on the blocks on the right side, and the Chargers break the ice. 50 seconds into the contest, they lead Zionsville 2-0. The Eagles with it, working outside what looks like it's a 1-2-2 zone, maybe dropping into a 2-1-2 zone for North Montgomery. First shot of the game for Zionsville is a 3-point attempt. It is off the iron, no good by Stevens, and the rebound goes to the Chargers. Starks brings the ball up to the front court in the left-hand dribble. Stops, dumps it off to Guinn, who's playing a long ways away from the basket tonight. He'll dump it to the left side to guess who? Jason McCormick. McCormick had only 8 points all last night. He's already got 4. He's averaging 14 points a ball game. As Coach Young said, the trying to get out of a bit of a shooting slump.
Yeah, I was going to say a bit of a shooting slump. 3 of 14 from the field last night, and it was 3 out of those 4 shots right in the middle of the game, and big streaks in the middle was done. And I tell you what, we had wrestling here this afternoon, and we got to take down Zionsville. That's 2 points.
An entry pass looking inside for the big junior center, Jeff Brown, was intercepted by Jason Guinn, and then Brown and Guinn just got tangled up. They fell to the floor, and the alternating jump ball arrow points in the direction of the green-clad Zionsville Eagles, so they'll play it back in. Brown has it. He tries to work the blocks on the bottom. He gets around Slicker, tips the ball up off the side of the iron. No good. It's tipped again, out of control, and finally Slicker comes up with the ball for North Montgomery. The Chargers lead 4-0. Sparks with the ball in front court across the 10-second line, guarded closely out on front, however, and finally he gets rid of the ball off to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe down to BJ, down on the blocks on the right side, up on top on the left wing. Here's a shot by McCormick. It's no good. The ball loose, tipped around, finally controlled by Zionsville with the rebound. This is Brad Stevens. Stevens down the right side. Brown is open for a moment. He goes into the lane. He puts up the shot. It's going to count, and he's going to go to the line for a three-point play opportunity. Zionsville is working the ball inside 3 times in a row, Tom. They're going to their big guy down on the blocks, Jeff Brown. This time he gets the good shot as he was wide open as North didn't get back quickly enough defensively.
And that's, you know, what we saw North Putt try to do last night. If you're going against North Montgomery, you want to get B.J. Slicker out of the game or get him in foul trouble. You do that by pounding it inside, and you know, Zionsville's doing what North Putnam was unable to do. North Putnam got it inside last night. They just were unable to convert.
The foul, though, was on Sparks, not Slicker, and the free throw is no good by Brown, and then North turns the ball over as they bring the ball into the front court on a double dribble violation. I want to take just a second to say hello to Coach Dave Solman and everybody watching the game on videotape as the Zionsville radio, or I should say tape crew, is putting our broadcast on their videotape. So, Coach Solman, we are certainly glad that you found us good enough to put us on your tape, and we'll say really nice things. That's right. We say hello to you probably on a Sunday afternoon. Get done in time to go watch the football playoffs. 5.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter play. North Montgomery has the lead. Zionsville's got the ball. They're open down on the blocks. Here's a look by Brown. He kicks it back up on top, however. Gives the ball off to Monk. Monk down deep into the left corner. Here's a 2-point shot up. No good. Off the iron by Stevens. The ball kicks around out of bounds. And finally, unable to control it, Zionsville will lose the handle, and Slicker will play the ball in. Chip Barnes had momentary possession and then tried to balance that line, do the tight wire act on the right sideline, and couldn't get it done. 4-2 again our score. North with the lead. Now they have the basketball as well with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. North goes inside. They try to post Slicker up underneath. We're going to have contact down in the paint, and the first foul of the game coming up against Zionsville. Chip Barnes will pick up the call.
One thing that's important for North Montgomery is that BJ is going to have to work so hard to even touch the ball, let alone get an open shot. He's going to have to work harder than he had to work last night because of the flow of the game. It's going to be a true test for the junior on how well he can do that.
Craig Edwards in the ball game for North Montgomery. He'll play the out-of-bounds shot in. It goes to Slicker. Slicker puts up a shot right off the get-go on the left side. The shot comes off the iron. We're going to have a North Montgomery rebound foul coming up, and the foul is going to go on Jason Guinn. Guinn out of position a little bit, goes over a shoulder, and picks up his first foul, second foul of the game against North Montgomery. 4:50 to go here in the first quarter in a very low-scoring game, especially in comparison to the wild one we had here last night, 88-85 with North Putnam. Zionsville with the basketball, stopping the dribble on top is Barnes, goes left wing, gives it to Monk. Monk now can't find anybody coming open in the middle, now finally gets it off to Jeff Brown. Brown takes the dribble out away from the paint and resets the Eagle offense. A lot of fingerprints on the ball tonight offensively for this Eagle squad. They'll be patient all night long. Here's a nice pass on the right side, going off to Jeff Brown. Brown looking up over the top of the defense, gets his second bucket, and he single-handedly ties the game here at 4. We're approaching the 4-minute mark. Here's a bad pass, intercepted by Brown on the other side of the floor, giving it off to Monk. Monk brings the ball quickly to the front court for the Eagles, giving it left side. Stevens fakes the three, doesn't shoot. Up on top it goes around the wheel to Monk, down to the left corner. This is going to be Jeff Brown. Brown goes inside, gets the man open. We're going to have a whistle, and we're going to have contact, and Craig Edwards will pick up the first foul. So North being a little lethargic, Tom, they're really playing into Zionsville's hands early on as far as the pace of the ball game is concerned.
Yeah, but, you know, North Montgomery has a rebound advantage. Well, actually, is 4 rebounds each. North Montgomery has not been able to get the defensive rebound and kick it out and go quickly. And if they are able to start doing that 2 or 3 times in a row, it's going to really force Zionsville to react back to North Montgomery.
The Eagles play the ball back in. Monk on top with some ball handling. Stops, goes left side. Here's a shot up. May have been partially tipped. That's by Sumner. The ball loose, controlled by Slicker. Slicker with a long pass. Down the floor, throws it away. It's intercepted by Monk. Monk doesn't have the numbers. Gives the ball away. Off to Stevens. Fires a 3. Left side, no good. Rebound Guinn for North Montgomery. He'll go to the break. Here's a 2-on-2. McCormick looks to go in transition. Has the ball stripped away from him as he goes up for the shot on the left side. And it'll go OB. Brandon Monk on the tip. It'll be North Montgomery ball.
Even though North Montgomery threw the ball away on that last break attempt, it is something good because it's going to force Zionsville to push guys back. It's going to not let Zionsville crash the boards like they want to on the offensive end.
It sends a message, I think, is how the coaching people put it. 3 1/4 to go in the first quarter. North's been stuck on 4 for almost 3.5 minutes. Here's a shot on the right wing. Up and off the iron, no good by Craig Edwards. The ball loose, controlled by Zionsville. Nearly a double team, and finally controlling it is Barnes. Barnes gives it off to Monk. Monk on the left-hand dribble. Up to the front court. Stops his dribble outside the three-point ring. Goes right side. A little skip pass to Sumner. Sumner down to the baseline. Here is Stevens. Stevens, turnaround jump shot. Forced up over the North Montgomery defense. The ball off the iron. Tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Sumner, and it'll be North Montgomery ball with 3:01 to go in the first quarter. We're tied at 4.
Zionsville, Brad Stevens has come out 0 for 4. He's missed 2 from 3 and 2 from 2, and that's really helped North Montgomery as North has not allowed Zionsville to get an offensive rebound yet.
2 subs in for the Eagles. Ryan Heidinger, a 6'5 junior, checks into the ball game, seeing his first action of the evening. It's past the afternoon now. Also checking in down there on the blocks, we see for the first time Dave Disney, a 6'3 junior as well. North Montgomery ball, under 3 minutes to go in the quarter. Slicker open to the baseline, off the right hand, chains to the left hand shot. Slicker has his first points of the ball game, and North has the lead back 6-4. Zionsville into the offense. Here's Monk, open man, down on the blocks on the left side. Heidinger in the ball game has 2 of his season average 4 points for contest. At the 2.5 minute mark, again another tie score. Forcing up a left hand shot in the paint, no good by Craig Edwards. Here's the rebound. Does Zionsville want to move it? Here's Stevens into the lane, turn around, layup off the front of the iron, no good. Rebound is Ratcliffe, and a foul on Zionsville. So the Eagles looking to run that time. They had the numbers for a moment, but they couldn't get the shot to roll. Stevens had a nice move as he reverses his pivot, goes on the other foot, but Heidinger was over the shoulder on the foul.
Both teams shooting very poorly to start off the game. North Montgomery only 3 of 8, 38%, only 30% on 3 of 10 shooting now for the Zionsville Eagles.
One last sub in is the starting 8, if you will, for Dave Solman. We see Patrick Mulheron, the 6'1 junior, in the contest for the first time for the Eagles. North Montgomery basketball. Edwards looks to kick it down to the corner to Ratcliffe, but the pass is about 6 feet too wide, and the turnover by North Montgomery will give the ball back to Zionsville. 2:08 to go in the first quarter. We're tied at 6.
And just a totally different game from what we had last night. It's almost like right now we're just in total slow motion. Just nobody seems to be going where they want to go. It's like everyone has to fight at both ends of the floor. That's exactly what the Zionsville Eagles want. And I tell you, if you're Dave Solman, you got to be, other than not shooting well, you have to be happy with how your team's playing.
Keeping it close and keeping it low scoring. That's important for the Eagles, as you heard Coach Solman talk about in our pregame interview. Here's a bad pass, which is going to fall right into the hands of one of the Eagles, and the shot up no good by Stevens is kicked around. North with a basketball, whistle, contact at midcourt. As coming up with control of the basketball finally was Sean Ratcliffe for North Montgomery. Checking in for North at that last dead ball with 6'1 sophomore Kevin Templeman.
And Brad Stevens continues to struggle offensively. That's the second time down the floor in a row where he has missed a shot from less than 2 feet away as he just has tried to lay it up over the rim, and it just rolled off.
On the contact, Mulheron picks up his first foul. Checking in for North Montgomery, 6-foot senior, the only senior on the North team. Tyler Fuller, averaging just under 10 points a ball game. He had 8 points last night in the 88-85 North Montgomery win. North Montgomery now with another turnover in front court. Craig Edwards picks up the turnover. It's the team 5th of the ball game.
And that is against only 1 so far for the Zionsville Eagles. North Montgomery better start to take care of the ball, or they're going to find themselves in a very close game come fourth quarter.
Time as we've seen many times this year, North Montgomery has their turnovers in streaks. They usually have 3 or 4 or 5 in a row, and then they settle down after a while. As Zionsville moves into the offense, we're going to have a whistle, we're going to have contact, we're going to have a foul. Will it be a shooting foul? I don't know. Looks like it's going to be Zionsville going to the line.
And I tell you what, last night is a perfect example of that as far as turnovers go. North Montgomery ended up with 12. They had 5 turnovers in that first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, but they settled down, and you could tell they were rusty from not having played very much in the previous month. That is not the case tonight. Tonight, those turnovers are because they're frustrated because of the tough Zionsville defense.
Craig Edwards picks up his second foul and picks up a spot on the bench next to Coach Scott Kegley as Sparks comes back in for North Montgomery. Fouled in the act of shooting for Zionsville was the leading scorer in the team, 6'3" senior Brad Stevens. He's at the line. He makes his first to give Zionsville its first lead of the ball game and makes his second to give the Eagles an 8-6 lead. On the season, they're a 64% free throw shooting team. Sparks with the basketball for North Montgomery. Down to the last minute 20. Flickers to the baseline, double team, dumps it off underneath. Sparks shot up off the back of the iron, no good. The rebound is pulled down by Zionsville's Dave Disney, and Sparks is over the shoulder. Are picking up his second foul, so now two of North guards have gotten into early foul trouble with two individual personals.
I was going to say, and that's where North Montgomery doesn't really want to be, because when you've got two of your three guys that you play at point guard, and you're very much may have to see Tyler Fuller at some point may have to take over that point guard position.
Brandon Monk with the basketball for Zionsville as they play the offense back into the front court, leading by 2. The Eagles go under a minute to play. There's a three-point shot, no good, off the iron by Stevens. The ball is saved from going out of bounds on a nice play, however, by Heidinger. Into the lane, shot up, Mulheron, no good, rebound Sparks. He's got a long outlet pass. Here's Fuller. He's got a man behind him. He's got the first shot up. It's no good, gets his own rebound, and follows up with a putback basket for 2. He ties the game at 8. That ends a Zionsville 4-point streak. Fuller gets a shot, a missed shot, a made shot, and an offensive rebound all in one fell swoop. Down to the final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Again, tied at 8. Zionsville may look to play for one last opportunity here with the basketball. On top is Stevens. Couple of left-hand dribbles. Now stops up in the elbow. There's a pass tipped away by Fuller. Sparks has it. 3-on-2. Sparks pulls up, doesn't shoot, gives it down into the corner. Fuller fires a 3 off the iron. Off the iron again, no good. The rebound kicks out hard, and it's finally flagged down by Zionsville. With the basketball is Disney. We're down to the final 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Firing up at the buzzer is Stevens. It's off the side of the iron, no good. And we reach the end of a very low-scoring, very methodical first quarter of play. It's North Montgomery 8, Zionsville 8. We're back with more after this.
And paint. Free estimates at Insurance Jobs Welcome. See Richard Baker or Don Gould at 607 Waynetown Road in Crawfordsville. Booth Brothers F&S Marts open 24 hours for groceries, pop, Shell gasoline, and touchless car wash. 2 locations in Crawfordsville plus Waveland and Waynetown.
Just underway also, we get a report that Illinois and IU are just getting a good workout over at Champaign, so we'll keep you up to date on that. From the initial reports, we hear that IU is up by a couple of points starting things out. North Montgomery is tied, and they'll have the ball to start the second quarter as a shot is forced up by Sparks. So an offensive putback by Ratcliffe is he loses control of it. You can give him a shot if you want, and Zionsville will bring the ball down to the other end of the floor. Here's a shot up by Jeff Brown, no good. The ball tipped around, finally controlled by Zionsville. With the ball is Barnes. He tries to force it in the middle. Bodies fly. The ball flies. 5 players on the floor, and Slicker has it and then loses control of it. Now we're going to have a whistle. Now we're going to have a foul. After all that melee happened, we've got 35 seconds played. Basically, nothing has happened. We are, though, going to have a foul. Tom can get some stats.
Oh, I was going to say, first of all, that foul is going to be on John Sparks. That's going to be his third foul. It's going to be the 6th on the team. Real quickly, first quarter stats, Jeff, as we get ready for the Brad Stevens free throws. Zionsville in that first quarter, only 3 of 14, 21%. They missed all 4 3-point opportunities, 2 out of 3 at the free throw line. North Montgomery out-rebounded the Zionsville Eagles 13-9. The Chargers shot 36% on 4 of 11, missing their only 3-point opportunity, turning the ball over 5 times to only twice for the Zionsville Eagles.
Brad Stevens, the leading scorer on the Zionsville team on the season, averaging just under 24 points a game, has no field goals, as Tom mentioned. Also, he has, though, now 3 free throws, as he is 3 out of 3, and that gives Zionsville the lead back 9-8. Give him one more and make it 10. Again, just underway in the second quarter in what has been a very, very slow-paced ball game here at North Montgomery High School. North Montgomery with the basketball. Edwards is back in now for Sparks, who checks out with his 3rd foul. And now we've got a whistle. We've got a my time by the referee as Zionsville's Stevens is going to work over a shoulder. I don't know if he bumped into Edwards out in front, but he's kind of rubbing it a little bit. It's like Brian Evans just popped the shoulder back in place and keep on going. How many times did he do that last week?
I was going to say, the game I went to Wednesday night against Michigan State, I saw him do it at least 3 times because he has to fight through so many screens that his shoulder just pops out, he pops back in, and he just keeps going.
North Montgomery will play the ball back in. Edwards is into the lane, puts up a shot left hand, no good. It's off the iron in the glass. Slicker has the rebound and then can't handle it. it'll go out of bounds. A lot of pressure by Zionsville underneath, really slapping at the ball underneath the basket. Slicker had the ball touched off his fingertips, and it goes out of bounds. So give him the rebound and the turnover, and the Chargers fall back on D. We're 1 minute into the second quarter with Zionsville up by 2. Into the front court on the right-hand dribble. Here's Brandon Monk. Stops on the front as he is closely guarded by Edwards. He'll dump it off to the right side to Stevens. Stevens tries to enter it inside the paint. We're going to have a whistle and a tie-up as, again, bodies fly. Tom, you mentioned the wrestling match here at North. Evidently, it must have left something down there because we've had a lot of jerseys scrambling down on the paint tonight.
I was going to say, sometimes when you roll those mats out, they've been stored, they get a little bit of dust on the bottom of them, and when you roll them out, that dust just will collect that on the floor, and if they don't do a sufficient job of cleaning the floor, there will be dust spots, which form slick spots out on the floor.
Oh, I didn't really mean it that way, but
it's true.
Well, yeah, I guess when you get really logical, I was just kind of meaning it in a non-analytical sort of way, like, hey, they were wrestling on this floor all day, and now they got guys diving on the floor after lots of loose basketballs.
Big adjustment for North Montgomery last night. The end of the first quarter, the score was 17-13. North with a 4-point advantage over North, but they've now played 9 minutes and 14 seconds, and the Chargers yet to score 10 points.
Tom, what we've got here is we'll be back in about 30 seconds, and we'll be back to remind you that we've got a 10-8 score here at North Montgomery High School. Zionsville has the lead.
Puritan Water Conditioning has installed units.
As we remind you, you're listening to high school boys basketball on 103.9 WIMC. Tom gives us an excellent moment here to explain again to folks who may be listening about what, when we talk about a medical injury and a little bit of blood, the blood rule now has gotten to be so extensive. You might want to explain to everybody what all has happened here and what is also happening out on the floor.
I was going to say, because of just the precautions that are taking place because of essentially human blood, now anytime that they're in high school, anytime that there is any drawn blood or blood on the uniform, or they change this rule every year, you have to stop play. The player has to come out until they can close up that injury. The player that is injured is Jeff Brown. He's got a cut over his left eye. He's being attended to, but there's blood on the floor, and now they have to go through great painstaking effort to take that blood off the floor because you don't want to take a chance of the blood that's possibly contaminated and contaminating someone, and obviously for legal and medical reasons is the reason you do it. So everyone dons the rubber gloves. They go out, and they are literally scraping the blood off the floor and putting in plastic bags to be disposed of later.
And what they have to do is, as you said, you've got the technicians out there. They have to sprinkle an absorbent on the floor. Brown hit the floor, his eye, if you will, hit the floor right at about the night. They are at South Putnam. Crawfordsville lost on a last-second shot to Lafayette Jeff, 68-66. Frankfort beat Western Boone in Sagamore Conference action by 10, 74-64. Kokomo beat Lebanon 47-43. After the Tigers dropped to 10-0, they were outscored 10-0 by Kokomo to start the game. As I look up from my score sheet, I realize we're back to action. Nobody even cheered as a shot is up by Zionsville. It's no good. Here's a quick transition basket off a shot by Tyler Fuller. So Fuller's got his second basket. We're tied back up at 10, so my apologies as I was going through my score sheets here, and we'll get back to action after, again, a long medical delay simply caused by about 2 spots of blood on the floor.
First thing to notice, Jeff, North's defensive intensity has picked way up. They've slipped back into a 2-3 zone, and it looks like Zionsville now is having trouble figuring out what to do offensively.
Well, with about a 3-minute or 4-minute time off, I would imagine the coaches have plenty of chances to really get after some guys on some defensive techniques. There's a shot out by Zionsville, no good by Stevens. Rebound to North Montgomery. Fuller has it deep in the left corner. Looks at the offense. Here's to Slicker inside. Here's Templeman open. Gets around the offense. Should say gets around the defense and spins around inside for his first bucket, actually, of the night. Only his fourth of the weekend, and that breaks the tie. I'll get back into this thing, too, and gives North the lead by 2.
And there we go, a 4-0 run coming in less than a minute coming out of that injury timeout. And Zionsville struggling as we're going to have a reach-in foul on B.J. Slicker, and it's going to put Zionsville at the line with the 1 in bonus. Brad Stevens, Jeff, now 0 of 10 from the field.
He does have 4 free throws, and he also is one of the leading scorers for Zionsville in this low-scoring affair. Jeff Brown has 4. Run down the last couple scores that we got started in earlier. As we said, Kokomo beat Lebanon by 4. Hamilton Southeastern beat Zionsville last night at Zionsville 53-50. Fountain Central lost to South Vermilion last night 62-54. I love the Hamilton Southeastern coach's comment. He said that Fountain Central played the best defense in the nation. I'm sure that Tony Coleman is very happy to hear that, as the free throw is no good by Zionsville Steve Sumner. And then also in one other game of note, Harrison beat Benton Central 74-71. Harrison is North's opponent next Friday night at Harrison. Back to action. Zionsville's ball after they get the offensive rebound and have it tipped out of bounds. There's a shot up, no good by the Eagles. Offensive turnaround, putback basket is good by Jeff Brown. So give Brown the rebound and give him his third basket of the game, and we are tied at 12. North tries to move the ball quickly to the front court. Edwards on the left-hand dribble, stops out on top of the jump circle and goes off to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe with the ball off to the bounce pass to Slicker. Slicker has it stripped away from him, and in transition, here comes Brandon Monk. Monk on the left side. Here's a shot up, no good, and the tip up inside. I believe Steve Sumner will get the bucket on the tip after Brown missed the follow-up opportunity. That gives Zionsville the lead back, 14-12. Here's North offensively. As yes, we hear the PA man say it was Sumner. Slicker now gets the entry pass inside from Fuller, and he has the ball stripped away from him. Boys, there are a lot of green shirts around B.J. Slicker.
There are a lot of green shirts, and BJ's starting to get a little frustrated. I think he feels like he's being slapped around a little bit more than he wants, and he's got to stay focused as he puts up a three and puts it right off the side of the backboard.
Rebound is pulled down by Zionsville. Brandon Monk has it into the front court. He's going to go all the way into the lane. He's going to dump it off, and the layup is no good. Hitting the side of the iron is Brad Stevens. Here comes North Montgomery. They look for transition, but Zionsville does a nice job of getting back quickly on defense. Edwards fires it down off the right side, gives it off to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe tries to dump it inside to Templeman, and one of the Eagles tips it out of bounds. 4:30 to go in the first half.
North Montgomery shooting only 6 of 17, but that's still better than the 5 of 22 from the field for the Eagles.
Here is Slicker on the out-of-bounds play. Takes a high lob pass from Edwards, puts it on the floor once, and fires it up for his second bucket. We're tied again. 14-14 our scores. We approach the midway point of the second quarter here at North Montgomery High School. Zionsville has really managed to maintain this tempo and the pace of the ball game. On the dribble, stopping is Barnes. Goes skip pass on the left side. Off to Steven. Steven, who is field goal less on the night, but does have 4 points. Looks at a shot, puts it on the floor, goes to the baseline. He's open for a moment. Hits the bottom of the iron, no good. Here's the follow-up shot by Brown. It's no good. Here's Sumner on the offensive putback. It also is no good. And so on the third shot, however, Sumner will be fouled, and Sumner will go to the free throw line for 2 as North Montgomery is going to be whistled for another foul. Sean Ratcliffe will pick up his first. The team foul inconsequential time because North has put Zionsville in the bonus a couple of fouls ago.
That's right. But Zionsville has only committed 3 fouls. Heidinger, Barnes, and Mulheron have picked up the 3 for the Eagles. 4 minutes left to go here in the half, and right now Zionsville plays such great defense without committing fouls and with such quick hands, and it still is frustrating the Chargers.
Kevin Crane checks in for the first time for Zionsville, averaging only a couple points a game on the season. Kevin had no points against Crawfordsville when Zionsville defeated the Athenians 65-64. At the free throw line goes Steve Sumner, 2 points on the night. He had 13 points last night in the 3-point loss to Hamilton Southeastern. His first free throw is no good. He is, though, a very good free throw shooter for this Eagles squad. He's an 85% free throw shooter on the year. Second free throw is up. It is no good as he is on the line. So he does not get the opportunity. He does not get the attempt. He does, however, get a turnover, and we remain tied up at 14. It was 8-8 at the end of the first quarter, folks. So the tempo has been like this since the get-go. 3:48 to go in the quarter. Jason Guinn for North Montgomery back in the ball game, has it on the high circle. Goes left side to Templeman, who dribbles twice, stops, gives it off to Edwards. Edwards looks to move inside. We're going to have a whistle. We're going to have contact. We're going to have an illegal screen foul called on North Montgomery. Tyler Fuller has his first.
Actually, Jeff, the foul is going to be called for him for clearing out. He was trying to get position down on the left block, and to do it, he was just being guarded. He kept pushing the guy further, and the guy kept coming back, and he kept pushing him harder and harder. And anytime the official sees you with the offensive guy with his arm straight out and the defensive guy at the far end of that hand, he's going to call the foul.
It's the straight arm shimmy right there. It's what exactly happened. So no matter what happens on it, we go to the other side of the floor and shoot some free throws, and it's 1 and the bonus coming up for Sumner. First free throw is up and down. He has 3 points. That gets us off the tie. Second free throw climbs the front of the iron. Sumner's got 4 points all in this quarter. Zionsville's got the lead back, and now North Montgomery with a pass going a little bit too quickly. They throw the ball away, and the turnover will give the ball back to the Eagles. And with that, Dave Young said, enough is enough. Time for some spontaneous combustion.
Okay, all of you out there who have heard of County Market, clap your hands. Good. Now, if you know that groceries cost less at County Market, snap your fingers. All right. Now, anyone who plays piano and saves money at County Market, give us a few notes. Woo-hoo. we're getting there. How about some brass? Any vice presidents out there who save money at County Market? Hey, we're cooking. Compare the bottom line. If you are saving lots of money at County Market, maybe you should be listening to the beat of a different drummer.
Well, Zionsville really scored on a different play right there, as a real bad shot was hauled down by Brad Stevens and put back up for Stevens' first field goal of the night, and that gives Zionsville the 4-point lead, 18-14. And North Montgomery brings the ball back into their offensive end of the floor against tough man-to-man defensive pressure by the Eagles. Edwards on the ball, tries to entry it down on the blocks to Jason Guinn, and we're going to have a Zionsville foul, their fifth of the first half. The foul will be Jeff Brown's first. As I mentioned, the fourth team foul time. Again, just a real slow-paced game, just kind of a slow, lazy ball game.
That's right. Remember, the Chargers scored 17 points in the first quarter last night. They've only scored 14 points, and we've played 13 minutes.
IU leads Illinois by 1, 23-22, with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Here's a North shot by Edwards, no good. The rebound pulled down by Stevens. He brings it to the other end of the floor and then flat out runs right over one of the Chargers on the far end. That's Jason Guinn. We're going to have an offensive foul on Zionsville, and the foul will be Brad Stevens' first foul.
Brad Stevens' only points that he has scored on offensively in the offensive flow tonight was his last time, and that was off an offensive rebound. And Jeff, I'd hate to add this up, but he's got to be about 1 for 13. The Zionsville Eagles now only 6 out of 26 from the field.
Jason Gwynn's going to take a seat on the bench as he really took a pretty hard pop from Stevens. He hit his head on the floor, and Templeman will replace him for a little while here in the North Montgomery lineup. The Chargers down by 4, been stuck on 14 for a long stretch. Here's Jason McCormick with the ball, high left wing, gives it to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe goes inside. Slicker puts it up over the front of the iron for 2. Slicker's got 6, and North Montgomery cuts the lead to 2. It's Zionsville 18, North Montgomery 16, 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Brandon Monk on the dribble for Zionsville, gives it off to Stevens. Stevens forces his way inside, forces up a shot which hits the iron 3 times and falls away, no good. Slicker with a rebound. Slicker with a bad pass. Here comes Monk from 12 on the right side, no good. Here's the putback attempt for Brown. It's no good. Ball tipped around. Brown gets it back again and puts it in for 2 more. Jeff Brown has 6 as he really does a nice job crashing the offensive boards, and North Montgomery quickly down to the other end. Here's Templeman. Templeman puts up a shot, forces it up through defensive pressure, and Templeman's going to be fouled. He'll go to the line for a couple on the Zionsville infraction.
And I tell you what, I think Kevin Templeman thinks that we're back in September and he's playing a little bit of football out in the Charger field. As the play is very physical. I mean, it's very clean, but both ends of the floor, Zionsville is going to make North Montgomery earn everything. B.J. Slicker, Jeff, right now is 3 out of 5 from the field. He's made 3 of his last 4. The problem is he's just not been able to get himself open because there have been 2 or 3 Zionsville Eagles on him every time he gets anywhere in a passing lane near the ball.
Zionsville is not playing any specialized kind of defenses, as Templeman's first free throw is good to make it a 2017 contest. What is happening, however, is that Zionsville is playing some great help defense. They're giving a lot of double team efforts to Slicker as Templeman makes both free throws to keep North close. 20-18 is our score as we go to the 2-minute mark of the first half. As Brown takes the entry pass, goes outside the lane, turns, spins, and fires. And Jeff Brown, again, he had 20 against Crawfordsville, 22 last night. He's got the hot hand right now with 11 of the 22 Zionsville points in the first half. Jason McCormick with a basketball for North. Looks at a 3, doesn't fire. Off to Slicker, into Templeman. Templeman forces up a shot. This one's going to count, and he'll go to the line for a 3-point play opportunity as the clock stops with 1:42 to go. So both teams, Tom, really using the same kind of theory. They're trying to bang the ball inside as the foul on Sumner is his second. We'll stop the clock, as we mentioned, and send Templeman to the free throw line for the second straight trip down the floor.
And this is the second straight game that the sophomore Templeman has come out very strong, getting himself open, slicing to the ball, and getting open inside. His problem he ran into last night is that he got into foul trouble. So far, he has not picked up a single foul.
He had 6 last night. His free throw is good. He has 7 tonight, and it's pulled North back to within 1, 22-21, as Zionsville now tries to work down inside. I thought we were going to have a traveling call out front, and instead the underneath referee is going to call a foul on North Montgomery. The foul will go on Slicker. It'll be his second foul. He becomes the second North player to pick up 2. Technically the third if you want to count John Sparks, who has passed 2 and has gone to 3. Both teams in the 1 in the bonus now with 1:33 to go here in the first half. Again, our score, Zionsville 22, North Montgomery 21. We'll look at my score sheet. Last night at the end of the first quarter, it was almost that score with North and North Putnam. Free throw up and around and good for Steve Sumner. He has 5 points all in this quarter, and that stretches the Zionsville lead back out to 2, 23-21. The Eagles' biggest lead has been 4. Zionsville 4-5 on this season. Second free throw off the side of the iron, rolls around, no good. Slicker with a rebound off to Ratcliffe. Here comes North on the fly. Zionsville back quickly on defense, however, and Ratcliffe's got to pull up and start the offense. He'll give it to Templeman on the right side, up to Edwards on top, around to Slicker. A mile-long three off the iron, no good. Ball loose as it's tipped around by Zionsville and finally flagged down by the Eagles, Steve Sumner. Sumner off to Monk. Monk to the front court of the left-hand dribble as we approach the 1-minute mark of the first half of play. Monk gets the ball back, guarded out front by Edwards. To the right side, down onto the block. Here is Stevens. Stevens changes hand, puts it up, no good. Second follow is no good. Third shot will not come as we're going to have a whistle and a foul. Zionsville continues to crash the offensive boards with reckless abandon. Sumner had a shot at it down there, and somebody will be going to the line for a couple of free throws for Zionsville. I believe it's going to be Jeff Brown as North picks up the foul. Templeman will pick up his first personal foul. Just under a minute to go.
Jeff Brown now the leading rebounder in the game with 7 rebounds. Jeff, 5 of his have come from the offensive glass.
We mentioned that he had a 20-point effort against Crawfordsville and 22 points last night. He also is averaging about 5.5 rebounds a contest. Check that. I'm sorry, that's the wrong line. He's averaging 8 rebounds per contest, the leading rebounder on this Zionsville team. The first free throw is up and down for the 6'5 junior. Second free throw also nothing but net. Really having a great first half as he has half of Zionsville's points. Here's a bad pass by North Montgomery. Going inside, the pass is intercepted underneath by Heidinger, intended for Templeman, and the arrow will point in the direction of North Montgomery. And the Chargers will play it in with 53 ticks left here on the first half clock. Edwards will trigger it in. Looking for Slicker. He's double teamed. Can't get it to him. Goes instead to Ratcliffe, who fires 3. Good. The first 3 of the night for North Montgomery. And that pulls the Chargers back to within 1, 25, 24, 40 seconds to go in the first half. Monk into the front court. Stops his dribble at the free throw line. Dumps it left side. And Zionsville sets the offense. Back to Stevens on the top. 2 dribbles to the outside of the three-point ring. Off to Brown. Brown double teamed. Has the ball tipped away, but it's flagged down up on front. And Crane comes up with the ball. He'll give it off now on a release pass to Monk, and Monk will start the offense, and then Zionsville will be called for the 5-second call time. You can still get that call in high school basketball.
That's right, you can. It's not that where you're dribbling the ball and you get and you can dribble around as long as you want, as long as you're guarded. You can only dribble still for 5 seconds without making motion towards the basket. That was the 5th turnover also on Zionsville.
North forces it down inside. Ratcliffe's shot is no good. We're going to have a whistle and we're going to have a foul on Ratcliffe on the rebound. So North, instead of running down for the last shot, elects to go for the bucket right away. Ratcliffe's shot hits the side of the backboard. It's going to be hauled down by Zionsville, and then Ratcliffe will pick up his second foul. And the bad news for the North fans, Mr. Coyle, is that stops the clock with 10 seconds to go and gives Zionsville a clean opportunity to get some more points on the board as Ryan Heidinger will go to the line for a 1-and-1. The 6'5 junior has a field goal to his credit and has no free throw, but the offensive rebound is Brown. His shot is blocked by Slicker. Here's North on the release. The pass is intercepted, and with 7 seconds to go, we're going to have contact at midcourt. Kevin Templeman's going to pick up his second foul, and we're going to have a sore-jawed Brandon Monk going to the free throw line as he really took a hard shot as he collided with Templeman at midcourt. So once again, Tom, the Chargers really put themselves in a pickle as a turnover and a foul has given Zionsville opportunities that they probably wouldn't have had.
The Chargers have turned the ball over 10 times now so far through 2 quarters.
At the line is 6' junior Brandon Monk, scoreless until right there. His free throw is good, and that gives Zionsville a 2-point lead here going towards halftime. 26-24 is our score. 27-24 make it as Monk makes both free throws. North can get the last shot away. Here is Edwards down to the corner. Here is McCormick for the 3. His shot is tipped just before the buzzer, The North coach is very hot. They thought McCormick had been fouled. There is no call, however. And Dave Solman takes his team to the locker room, leading by 3 at the intermission. It is Zionsville here at North Montgomery, leading the Chargers at the halftime break, 27-24. We'll be back with I'm not going to call it dreadful, although that word does come to mind. It's just been a real,
I like my word, arduous. That was such a good word.
I like that word. And I don't want to say insidious or anything, but it's just one of those games where
if you keep this up, Perkins is going to have to go home and look these things up.
Well, he is at home. That's where I got the halftime score.
We'll give you a head start, Perk.
Yeah.
Insidious starts with an I.
That's right, and arduous starts with an A. So he'll have to go get the old Funkin' Wagnalls off the porch and figure that one out. As Perk's got the night off, he's doing a little IU watching, a little channel surfing, and rumor has it he's got to go to work at about 11 o'clock tonight. So Perk, just settle in, and we'll see if we can't bring you one here and show you how the real guys do it here. Oh, and with that, we'll put the ball back into play.
Once again, saying hi to Dave Solman and the Zionsville coaching staff watching this game.
Well, that's right. But see, they turn the tape off at halftime, so all the goofy stuff we say at halftime doesn't really count. As the Eagles will play it in, and then we'll have the ball kicked around a little bit. North Montgomery comes up with a steal. They'll have the ball on offense for the first time in the second half. There's a near bad pass flagged down by McCormick in the far left side, around the wheel to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe's got a lane open, lays it up, and has the bucket. Sean Ratcliffe now has 5 for the ball game, pulls North back to within 1, 27-26 as we reestablish things here in the second half. Glad to have you along tonight on 103.9 WIMC, FM radio out of Crawfordsville, along with Tom Coyle. I'm Jeff Nelson. Hi there, Fred Johnson. Thank you for the tickle on the ribs, by the way, as Zionsville plays the ball back in. Stevens held to 6 points in the first half. Tries to move the ball inside. We're going to have a whistle on the held ball, and the arrow points in North Montgomery's direction. And there's the first famous Dave Solman foot stomp, second only to Rick Peckinpah of McCutcheon.
That'd be fun if those two teams played each other. Boy, I'd like to see those foot stomping guys going. You think you're at a clogger convention?
It'd be like rifle shots going off when that flat sole hits that wooden floor. It just snaps. As we played a minute of the third quarter, North Montgomery turns the ball over on a traveling violation.
Look for North Montgomery now at some point, especially after made baskets, to go to a full court press, or at least to go to a trapping press, just if no other reason to pick the tempo up, because they still cannot be happy with the way things are going. And here goes North into a 1-3-1.
They're going to try and as you heard Coach Young talk about in the pregame interview, that they were going to try and do it whatever they could to force the tempo up. Scale. Here's a long 3 by Stevens with a rebound to Slicker, long pass to McCormick, and the layup for 2. When it clicks, it looks so simple as North takes the lead back, 28-27. Coach Solman recognizes what has just happened. He sees the press for the first time, and he expends his first timeout. He's going to set his offense up just a little bit differently. North Montgomery takes the lead back with 4 straight points. 28-27 is our score. 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. We're back after this. They're going to give away the half and half prizes here as you hear the PA guys booming out over the system here in North Montgomery. Not a real good crowd tonight, Tom. We had a good North and North Putt crowd last night here at the Charger Gym. But boy, tonight, Pickens a little slim.
Pickens are a little bit slim. Zionsville not traditionally one that brings a big crowd. Very, very small student crowd here tonight for North Montgomery.
As we want to remind the North fans, boy, they've only got 2 home games left in the entire rest of the season. Both Sagamore Conference games, Lebanon and Frankfort. As we play the ball back in, it's Zionsville ball, and a good defensive play by Slicker on a block shot, and we're going to have a rebound foul on the Eagles. It's going to go on Jeff Brown. He'll pick up his second foul. Only 2 Eagles have 2 fouls each. Jeff Brown, who just picked up number 2. Steve Sumner has 2. 1 Charger. John Sparks has 3. Then Templeman, Slicker, Ratcliffe, and Edwards each have 2. Here's a quick 3 for North Montgomery. Sean Ratcliffe. He nails it from the right wing, and it gives North Montgomery the 31-27 lead. The Chargers have scored the first 7 points.
Chargers have come out and hit 3 from 3 from the field. Quick correction for you. The 2 home games for North Montgomery to end the season are Southmont and Lebanon. So no reason,
not Frankfort.
No reason that there should not be big crowds for both those 2 games.
Yeah, I've got the Frankfort game at Frankfort. That's my bad. As the lead for North Montgomery by 4 is their biggest of the ball game. As I look through my running score chart, Zionsville with the ball. They have not scored in the first 2 minutes and 20 seconds of this third quarter, and they change fed immediately with a bucket by Brad Stevens. Stevens now has 8. Again, he averages about 24 points a ball game. He pulls the Eagles back to within a deuce, 31-29, and the Eagles put some pressure on in backcourt. North with no real difficulty in breaking the trap. Slicker with the ball down deep into the corner. Here's the 3 by Ratcliffe off the front iron. No good. Rebound pulled down by Jeff Brown. Brown finds a guard, gives it off. This is Monk on the dribble, brings it up right hand and starts the offense. Inside they post up to Brown, who then stutters the pivot foot and travels with a basketball.
And I tell you what, Zionsville, who had only turned the ball over 5 times in that first 2 quarters, now has turned the ball over 3 times here, and we've played only 2 minutes and 47 seconds.
And that, some of it is due to North's change in defensive style. As we saw against Greencastle, they went to that half-court trap and really made life miserable for the Tiger Cubs. Here again is the half-court pressure, and another 3-point shot up and down for Sean Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe had 20 last night. He only had a tray in the first half. He now all of a sudden has 11 points, and North has stretched out the lead to 5, 34-29. 3 minutes played in the third quarter. On the offense for Zionsville, putting it on the floor. Here's Barnes. Dumps it off. Back on top. This is Monk. Won't shoot the 3. They go inside. Here's Brown. Oh, real physical with a shot. Has to work it up over a double team, and he gets the bucket to fall. He's got 14 on the night, and Zionsville goes over 30. It's 34-31. The Eagles trail. They fall back into the defense. Here's McCormick for North Montgomery to Slicker. High wing, 3-point shot, no good. The ball loose and grabbed by Jeff Brown. Brown gives the ball off to Monk, who brings the ball to the front court, gives it off to Stevens in the high left wing, right in front of Coach Solman. Slicker with a good defensive pick, gives the tip off to Edwards. Edwards brings it down the right sideline, off to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe has a lane open, doesn't shoot, gives it off to McCormick, who fires a 2 just on the ring. Jason McCormick's got 8 points, 2 buckets in each quarter, and North lead stretches back out to 5, 36-31 as we reach the midpoint of the third quarter. Well, what a different third quarter we've had. As opening for just a moment on a nice pass, Jeff Brown nails the lay-in on a good assist to make it 36-33, and North brings the ball back down, and Jason McCormick fires it on the first touch, and it's good. So McCormick now all of a sudden goes to double figures. It's 38-33.
And McCormick has hit all 3 shots here in the third quarter. He's now 5 of 7 from the field for the game.
This is not the same 2 teams that played to a 27-24 game in the first half. Here's a 3-point shot by Stevens. It's no good. The rebound is pulled down by Ratcliffe, and Stevens can't get around to try and grab the offensive rebound, and Stevens will pick up his second personal foul. It comes with 3:25 to go in the third quarter, and North Montgomery enjoying their biggest lead of the night, 38-33.
And if you're Brad Stevens, you've just got to be frustrated. He has now hit on only 2 out of 18 shots from the field.
My mercy. John Sparks with a basketball for North Montgomery. Brings it to the front court, crosses the timeline and changes direction, and then stops his dribble. He'll give it off to the hot shooter right now. That's McCormick. Back to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe puts it on the floor, loses the handle. North Montgomery loses it as Zionsville comes up with a steal. Brown has the steal. He'll give it off to Monk. Monk to the front court. Waits for the offense to set up by giving it to Chip Barnes. To Stevens. Stevens to the line. Steps on the baseline. The referee didn't see it. He'll put it up. His shot will hit the iron. Here's a put back up, and no good. The return is Sumner. The ball is still loose. Sumner gets it again. Bodies fly. We're going to have a whistle and a foul. No foul on a shot as John Sparks is going to be whistled for his 4th foul on the reach-in as Tom Zionsville continues to have problems in close. They're really crashing the offensive boards very, very well, but they can't get very many of those tip-ins to fall.
No, but that, John Sparks just picked up his 4th foul, Jeff, and he is going to stay in the game with those 4 fouls. I'm not sure if Dave Young is in it. Now we see is they're going to make a substitution. That's dead ball.
On the out-of-bounds play, here's a shot on the right baseline by Brandon Monk. He hits his first field goal of the ball game to make it 38-35. 2:33 to go in the third quarter. Sparks with those 4 fouls puts the ball on the floor. He entries it into Slicker. Slicker on a baby hook shot puts it up for his first points of the second half. He has 8 overall, and that puts North at 40, leading by 4 points as we get down towards the 2-minute mark of this much quicker played third quarter here between Zionsville and North Montgomery. Again, North using the zone defense they've spread out just about all night long. Zionsville works around the three-point ring. Stevens doesn't shoot. Back around the left side. Here's Monk. Shot no good. The rebound pulled down by the inside guy, Steve Sumner, and he has the ball tipped away from him. It'll be Zionsville ball, and now North will work the substitute in. Sparks leaves. Edwards comes in.
North Montgomery shot, Jeff, only 10 of 26, 38% in the first half. They are 7 of 9 to start the third quarter.
We are under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Zionsville triggers it in. On the entry pass here is Barnes to Stevens, high left wing. Back down to Monk, who will fire a three. It's no good. The rebound is Slicker. He looks for a breaker, can't find one. Gives it off instead to Edwards. Edwards into the lane. Doesn't fire. Out of the paint. Back to Slicker. Left side goes to McCormick. McCormick to the left side. Spins. Fires off the glass too hard. No good. Rebound is Guinn, however, for North Montgomery. He'll lay it up for two. Jason Guinn, who last night had all 7 of his points in the fourth quarter, just got his first bucket of the night, and that gives North their biggest lead, 42-35, as we hit the 1:30 mark, remaining to go in the third quarter. Zionsville now again wanting to be patient on the offense. On the outlet pass, here is Stevens. Stevens on the dribble, goes skip side off to Monk to the right. Monk looks to shoot, doesn't do it, though, as he is double teamed by Slicker and McCormick. On top, giving it off to Barnes. Barnes down into the paint, shot up and down. Chip Barnes has his first points of the ball game. He pulls Zionsville back to within 5 as we hit the 1-minute mark of the third quarter. 42-37 is our score. North Montgomery has the lead in the basketball, and we'll have a little touch foul out in front as Slicker brings the ball to the front court. Chip Barnes, the 6-foot senior, on the touch has his second personal foul. That's the third team foul on Zionsville in this second half.
And right now, North Montgomery has control of the game, Jeff. They just need to be able to work things as soon as I say it, they turn the ball over.
Nice tip of a pass by Barnes, and going in transition, the Eagles will get a little bunny layup as Brad Stevens goes to double figures on the cripple. Now a long pass by North, goes out of bounds as the Chargers want to try and get in transition. Coach Young not happy with the pass right there as Slicker's pass intended for McCormick flying down the left sideline. However, it was too far for the sophomore, and it goes out into the band.
The officials are going to say the ball comes back to the center of the floor. That is an incorrect call because it is not a dead ball situation. The clock was running. Zionsville should have gotten the ball at the other end of the floor.
And they get a gift basket as getting open underneath. Steve Sumner spins off a pick and gets a layup and makes it 42-41. Sumner on the bucket has his first points of the second half. We're down to the final 30 seconds of this quarter. McCormick puts the ball into the floor, tries to drive the paint. He's going to be fouled. He will not be shooting, however, as the foul is a common foul on the floor. Comes with 28 seconds to go in the quarter as Steve Sumner picks up his third personal foul. A quick sub in for North Montgomery. Slicker goes to the bench. Templeman comes in as he'll get an extra 30 seconds of rest here from Coach Young. See what North does now to play it in when they put their leading scorer on the bench, although tonight BJ is not the leading scorer. McCormick has 10 to lead the way, along with Ratcliffe's 11. On the out-of-bounds play, here's a three-point shot by Fuller, no good. The offensive rebound is McCormick, but McCormick came down with the ball with his foot on the baseline, so give him the rebound and the turnover, and Zionsville can take the lead back here in the last 20 seconds of the third quarter. It's 42-41. North has the lead. They have pretty much controlled the tempo and the pace of this whole third quarter, but the Eagles can take the lead back if they convert. On the dribble, this is Barnes. Down to 10 seconds. He's in between the jump circles. Changes hands, goes left side. Stops his dribble now, guarded by McCormick. 5 seconds, 4, 3. Stevens down to the left side. He's blocked off. We're going to have a whistle and a blocking foul. It's going to go on Kevin Templeman, but the blocking foul will not be on the shot. And with 1 second to go, Zionsville will play it in. So a break that time, Tom, for North Montgomery.
Yeah, actually, it is a break in that it's not a shooting foul, but North Montgomery never should have fouled anybody in the final second when the guy was behind the backboard.
Here's the inlet pass, tipped away by Templeman as the buzzer sounds to end the third quarter. North Montgomery takes the lead back with a good third quarter. Zionsville has the big run, though, at the end to make it a one-point ball game. It's North Montgomery 42, Zionsville 41 at the end of 3. We're back with fourth quarter action after this.
Students out there who save money at County Market, hey, we're cooking. Compare the bottom line. If you are saving lots of money at County Market, maybe you should be listening to the beat of a different drummer.
Back to start the third quarter, North Montgomery High School. The Chargers back on defense as Zionsville can again, as they on the last trip down the floor in the third quarter, can take the lead with a conversion here, trailing by 1, but they will not as they throw the ball away. Tom Coyle with some quick third quarter stats.
True through 3 quarters now, Jeff. Zionsville shooting only 15 out of 47, 11 of 15 free throws, 30 rebounds to North Montgomery's 27. The Chargers now 18 out of 38 from the field through 3 quarters, 47%, but they hit 8 out of 12, 67% from the field in that third quarter. Neither team attempted a free throw in that third quarter, and North Montgomery closed that rebounding gap down to the 3, now trailing only 30 to 27 on the board.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. We've played a couple more seconds as we get the fourth quarter started. Want to let Mr. Perkins know a phone call is coming your way, so get the IU score ready, buddy. North Montgomery still with the lead. They got the basketball. Tyler Fuller has it. Looking to go inside. They get the ball to Slicker. Slicker now will be fouled over the shoulder. Boy, I'll tell you, the way BJ looked right there, Tom, I thought maybe he was going to get an elbow call. The foul's going to go, though, on Zionsville's Chip Barnes. It'll be his third. No real serious foul trouble for Zionsville. A couple guys with 3, a couple guys with 2. North Montgomery has John Sparks with 4 and 1 guy with 3 and a bunch of 2s. On the out-of-bounds play, here's BJ Slicker on a tray. He goes to double figures now with his first 3-point field goal of the night to make it 45-41. Zionsville back on the attack. Into the attack zone. Here comes Stevens. Puts it on the floor. Shot up. No good. The ball is tipped out of bounds. As orange bodies fly, the ball is going to be tipped out of bounds off of both Templeman and McCormick, and it will belong to Zionsville. Playing it back in. Zionsville. Inlets it inside to Heidinger.
And he's going to be fouled by Craig Edwards and be called for reaching in. That's going to be Craig's third foul.
As we're trying to help get set up here, the old cellular phone managed to poop out on me for just a second. We got to get reset up, and we'll get a phone call made, try and track down again that IU score. Zionsville plays the ball in. Stevens with it. High left wing, giving it off to Monk. Monk now goes on the dribble and stops. Gives it to Brown. Brown posts up over the top of Templeman for 2. Jeff Brown now has 6 points this half, 18 for the ball game to make it a 45-43 contest. As in transition, Tyler Fuller takes the long pass from Slicker. He's got 6 on the night. And again, North Montgomery just quickly down the floor. They can get a 47-43 contest. Here comes Zionsville again on the attack. Giving it off on the dribble is Barnes. Barnes now down to the blocks, gives it to Heidinger. Heidinger travels with the basketball, and the turnover by Zionsville will give the ball back to North with a 4-point lead. We played a minute and a half of the fourth quarter.
And I tell you what, Jeff, for North Montgomery, Tyler Fuller is just having an excellent game as he is just doing well offensively. He has now hit 3 out of 6 only from the field. Also, Sean Ratcliffe playing well, Jason McCormick playing well, and BJ Slicker just rebounding well, and offensively, North Montgomery is beginning to click.
John Sparks back in the ball game with his 4 fouls, as Coach Young is obviously elected to put his ball handling capabilities and defensive capabilities back in, even with the opportunity for him to be fouling out. He'll bring the ball into the front court, giving it off to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe to Fuller. Fuller back to Ratcliffe in between the jump circles. Guarded closely by Monk on top. Nearly losing the ball. Stevens almost has a near pick. Falls back on D. Back to Sparks. Sparks into the lane. Shot up too hard. Off the glass. Fuller with the rebound. Fires it back up. And Fuller will go to the line for 2 free throws as he is fouled in the act of shooting. The clock stops with 6:01 to go in the fourth quarter. The foul on Zionsville, Steve Sumner, will be his 4th. He becomes the first Eagle, Tom, to go to 4 personal fouls.
And I tell you what, after Zionsville picked up 12 offensive boards in that first half, Jeff, they have only picked up 2 so far here in the second half. North doing a great job of crashing the board.
Tyler Fuller, 6 points on the night. He's got a bucket here in the fourth quarter, and the free throw does a lap and falls away off the right side. No good. The score remains 47-43 as Zionsville puts Dave Disney back in the ball game, and checking out with the 4 fouls is Steve Sumner. Sumner missed a couple of ball games at Christmas time due to a shoulder injury, and has basically played his way back into pretty good playing shape. He has 7 points on the night. Second free throw for Fuller is good. 7 on the game, and it's a 48-43 contest. The clock starts to run. We're under 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Zionsville on the attack, and there'll be a foul almost immediately as Fuller can't get into defensive position quickly enough as Brad Stevens comes around to pick. Fuller will pick up his second. Not a shooting foul. North Montgomery has not put Zionsville into the 1-and-1s as of yet. Playing the ball back in. Zionsville plays it into Edwards. Or check that into Brown. Brown works the ball in on the dribble and puts it up, and now Brown has gone to 20 points to make it a 48-45 contest. Brown with 8.5 to go with his dozen first half points. On the dribble, Ratcliffe stops, goes right baseline to Slicker. Slicker has the ball go out of his fingertips and flagging it down with Sparks. Sparks off to Fuller. Fuller off a pick shot, rolls around the iron. No good. The rebound pulled down by Zionsville. Brown on the board, giving it off on the dribble quickly to Monk. Monk down to the right side. Slicker tries to steal, can't get it done, however, and the ball goes out of bounds. It'll be Zionsville ball, 5:17 to go.
BJ did a good job getting down the floor defensively, sliding around the baseline to try and intercept that pass, knocking it out of bounds.
The Eagles will play it in. Monk slaps the ball, triggers it inlet, and stepping on the out-of-bounds line on the far side is Chip Barnes.
And after only committing 5 turnovers in the first half, that is the 8th turnover in the second half, giving Zionsville now 13 on the game against the 15 for the Chargers, who have yet to commit a turnover here in the fourth quarter.
Chargers will play it in. Sparks to the front court, gives it off to Slicker. Slicker has a path to the lane open, stops, however, and fires on the right baseline and nails the bucket. So Slicker now has 13 points to give North a 50-45 lead as we go under 5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. North again has led pretty much the entire second half after trailing most of the first. Here's a shot up by the Eagles. It's no good. Brown on the fire and the miss. North Montgomery on the D rebound. Here's Slicker, 4-3, good. Slicker now with 8 points in this quarter. 53-45. Coach Solman up. Will he call his second timeout? Not yet. That was interesting because John Sparks had that three-pointer predicted from the second. It left B.J. Slicker's hands. He stood there with his arms raised in that touchdown position from the second. Slicker let it go. Here is Zionsville looking to make a response, and they do with a three-point field goal. Brandon Monk hits the three-point field goal. It's the first tray for Monk, and I believe the first three-point field goal of the night for the Eagles, and it pulls them back to within 5, 53-48, and then the Eagles call timeout. We'll take timeout ourselves. We'll be back to North Montgomery right after this.
Tonight's game is called Cook at 362-5300 in the community, serving the community. And by Paradise Donuts in their new location at 821 South Washington Street in Crawfordsville. Open 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. 7 days a week, except holidays.
Update from Champaign, Illinois leads IU. Check that. IU leads Illinois 48-46. 11-12 to go in the second half. We'll keep that one updated. Thanks to Cellular One for having a phone here so we can call folks around after the timeout. North Montgomery plays it around. Here's another three-point shot. Sean Ratcliffe. He has his fourth tray of the night to make it 56-48. Here's a fourth shot and good by Jeff Brown. In a lot of traffic, the junior now has 22 points on the night to make it 56-50. Here's backcourt pressure by Zionsville. Sparks has his pocket pick from behind. Stevens on the quick move, bringing it in transition. Here's a pass. Here's a shot up. It's no good by Mulheron, and the rebound pulled down by North Montgomery, and having his pocket pick from behind, Slicker loses it. Mulheron on the steal. He'll give it off now to Monk. Monk into the front court. He'll fire from the free throw line. It's no good. Crashing the boards. Here's Brown. Brown shot no good. Gets his own rebound. He's going to be fouled. He'll go to the line as Slicker gives his third personal foul.
And right now, things are working pretty well for North Montgomery. They're getting the ball, they're kicking it out, but you got to watch, you got to talk and know that somebody's coming from behind there. Excellent job for Jeff Brown for the Zionsville Eagles. After starting out a little bit slowly, he has now connected Jeff on, counting this quickly, 7 of his last 10 two-point field goal opportunities. B.J. Slicker for the Chargers, 7 of 11 from the field now, 9 rebounds. He has 5 of 6 on two-point field goal opportunities for the night.
We're going to take a moment to mop up a little perspiration on the floor. Again, if you listen in the first half, we had about a 10-minute delay as we had a bump on the eye. That was Jeff Brown, wasn't it, who got bumped?
Yes, it was.
It didn't seem to bother him. He got a butterfly stitch over his eye, but we had a couple drops of blood on the floor, and it took us 10 minutes to get a couple drops of blood wiped up, but Brown came back from the bump and has responded. Now he's got 22 points, which is game high. The Eagles play the ball in after the out of bounds. 3:15 to go and counting. 56-50 is our score. North Montgomery has the lead. Brandon Monk on the dribble. Goes out between the jump circles. Guarded man-to-man right now by Sparks. He'll give it off now to Mulheron. Mulheron left wing goes out to Stevens. Stevens puts it on the floor. Forces up a shot from the block. It rolls around the iron 2-3 times and finally goes down. Brad Stevens has his first bucket of the quarter. He has 12 points on the night. 56-52 is our score. Here is Ratcliffe, three-point shot, no good. Templeman with the offensive rebound. He has it stripped away from behind, and the ball comes down in the hands of Brandon Monk. Zionsville now with a pocket pick at midcourt. John Sparks steals the ball, and Sparks will be fouled at midcourt by Brandon Monk. Monk will pick up his first. It'll stop the clock time with 2.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter with North Montgomery leading by 4.
And Kevin Templeman's going to get himself to the line with a 1-and-1 opportunity. He is 3 of 3 from the line so far tonight. Last night, Kevin Templeman did not shoot a free throw attempt.
And Templeman will not shoot a free throw here as of yet. John Sparks will go to the line.
I tell you what, then we'll let John Sparks, who has not attempted a free throw here tonight. John Sparks did not attempt one last night. John Sparks has no points and 2 rebounds. He is 0 of 4 from the field.
He is now 1 of the night for the free throw line. However, as a 6'2 sophomore, and we talked extensively about his role, Tom. He had no points last night against North Putnam, but last night his role was not to score points. He has scored points on occasion. He's had a season-high game of 12 against Greencastle. Last night it was handling the ball and playing defense. Tonight it's been pretty much the same. His first free throw good, his second free throw also good to give North the 58-52 lead back.
And that's the reason that they put him on the floor with 4 fouls and still 6 minutes to go in the game. You want his defense, you want his ball handling. You know if he gets fouled, he will step up and hit the free throws.
Zionsville with the basketball. Disney at the high post gives it off on the pass on the skip side to Mulheron. Around the wheel they work, looking for Stevens. He gets it, puts it on the ball, puts it on the floor one time, back around the side. Hills Mulheron for 3. It's too hard. It's tipped by Brown. We're going to have a whistle and a rebound foul. Sparks will go to the line again as he is fouled over the shoulder. I believe it's going to be Brad Stevens on the call. If it is, it'll be his 3rd foul. It stops the clock with 2:12 to go. North Montgomery has a 6-point lead, and they can pad the lead by hitting some free throws right here.
And if that is Brad Stevens, they have him up officially, Jeff, for 4 personal fouls. And I only had him for 3 also. So official is the one that counts. That's going to put them in an interesting position with 2:12 left to go, trailing 58-52. Dave Solomon is more than likely elect, and it looks like will elect to keep his big gun, who's struggling tonight, Brad Stevens, in the game.
Well, he'll have to. He also puts his starting center back in the ball game. That's Steve Sumner, after giving him about a 2-minute rest, and he'll probably go the duration. At the free throw line, Sparks' first free throw misses, right side iron, and the rebound is pulled down by Zionsville. Here comes Stevens down the right side, pivots, fires, it's off the iron, it's no good, the ball is loose, it's still loose, it's clear out to midcourt, and it's flagged down by Brandon Monk, and then 2 Chargers who are going for the ball got their feet tangled up with somebody else, and both McCormick and Templeman fly into Monk, and one of them will pick up a foul. It's going to be whistled against Kevin Templeman, and that'll be his 4th personal foul. Would have been better to go against McCormick if you're a North fan, Tom, because McCormick does not have any fouls against him, but that's the way the breaks go.
Yeah, but you know, all you do is you take Kevin Templeman out, you put Jason Guinn in. Same situation last night. Jason Guinn came in, hit 3 out of 4 from the field, had a couple of offensive rebounds, and helped North get the big win last night.
Only the 6th foul against North. No shots for Zionsville. Here is a shot on the out-of-bounds play by Mulheron. It's no good. Offensive rebound is Brown, and then Brown is called for 3 seconds. A nice job of offensive rebounding by Jeff Brown, but as he pivoted about 3 times, he was double-teamed by North. Slicker picked up one of the defensive assignments. I don't know who else. It may have been Ratcliffe, and then Brown could not get the shot up and was called for the 3-second violation, and Ratcliffe got bumped on the nose, and he appears to have a bloody nose, but we don't have any blood on the floor, and we'll have timeout. So Ratcliffe goes to the bench. Here's our story. 1:52 to go in the 4th quarter. North Montgomery leads Zionsville 58-52. We got timeout asked for by North, and we'll be back with more 4th quarter action right after I
Incorporated when it comes to quality heating and air conditioning, as Bob Kiger always.
Thank you very much. Whitey, want to to remind everybody that we'll be back to action again next week. We got lots of high school basketball action on both 1550 WCVL and 103.9 WIMC. I am heading for, I believe I got Southmont Fountain Central next week, as I know I've got the Mounties on a doubleheader weekend. Tom's heading for who knows where. But we got a couple of good minutes of basketball action to finish up here tonight. Here's North after the timeout. McCormick with the basketball. He's into the lane. He has the ball knocked out of his hands from behind. And North will maintain possession of the ball with 1:44 to go.
North will inbound the ball. John Sparks inbound it underneath their own basket. Kicks it out to B.J. Slicker.
And Slicker will put it on the floor. Working the ball down, looking inside. Sparks can't handle it. The ball tipped around, controlled by Zionsville. They're on the move. Here comes Stevens into the paint. Right-hand shot up and down. Brad Stevens now has 14 points on the game. That makes it 58-54. Here's a long pass to McCormick. His shot is no good. And we'll have a blocking foul on Zionsville. Coach Solomon thought that he could get a call. Chip Barnes almost had off defensive positioning set as contact was made. Was it initiated by McCormick or was it initiated by Barnes? The referee says it was by Barnes, that he wasn't set, and McCormick will go to the free throw line for a pair.
Jason McCormick has not gone to the line yet tonight, Jeff. And actually the North Montgomery Chargers have only attempted 8 free throws. They are 6 of 8 thus far tonight.
McCormick, averaging 14 points a game on the season, has had a tough weekend. He had only 8 points last night. He does, however, have 10 points right now on 5 2-point field goals, and it stays that as the free throw comes hard off the back iron. It's a 4-point game. Zionsville looking to even their record at 5-5. These two teams could very easily be facing each other again on the 28th of February or the 1st or 2nd of March in the sectional tournament over 11. Free throw up and down by McCormick. He has 11. That makes it 59-54. We're under a minute and a half to go. Here's Stevens' long 3-point shot, no good. The ball kicks out hard. Guinn has it. Guinn triggers it out. The pass is grabbed by Fuller, and Fuller is fouled at midcourt as the clock stops on the foul. Brandon Monk picks up number 2.
Brad Stevens with that last missed shot, Jeff, now is 5 out of 25 from the field.
Poor guy really has struggled here, as Coach Solomon in our pregame interview talked about playing on the floor where the sectional is played every other year. Probably a good thing the sectional isn't here this year if Brad Stevens continues to shoot as tough a game as he's had thus far tonight. Give some of that credit, though, to North defense.
I will. Jeff Brown, the other big man for Zionsville to this point tonight, Jeff, 10 of 18, all of those 2-point opportunities, 2 of 2 at the line, 8 offensive rebounds, a total of 13 boards.
And 22 points for Mr. Brown, as Tyler Fuller makes the first of 2 free throw opportunities. Second, no good. And we're going to have a rebound foul on North Montgomery. Stevens grabs the board, and Jason Guinn is over his shoulder. So no time runs off the clock. Our score 60-54. We'll walk to the other side and shoot 1-1.
And you don't want to foul at any point in time, but that's not a smart foul by Jason Guinn, because what it does is with no time off the clock, it's going to give Zionsville and it's going to give Brad Stevens, who's 4 of 4 at the line tonight, a chance to pull Zionsville within 4.
Stevens at the line, right-hander, fires, good. Interesting, we were talking about the second half of the season. We've talked about North Montgomery, Tom, including tonight's game. 7 of North's last 10 games are on the road. After tonight's game, Zionsville has 7 of their last 10 at home. So the Eagles, I'm sure, looking to get a little healthier with some home court cooking. They are home next Friday night to Clinton Prairie and next Saturday night to Tri-West, and then they're home after that to Plainfield, as Stevens makes both free throws to make it a 60-56 contest. North down the floor. Fuller in control, has the ball tipped from behind by Barnes. No call. It'll be North Montgomery's ball. The Chargers are looking to go 5-6 on the year if they can hang on to this slim lead right now. Sparks will trigger it in with 1:11 to go. Sparks with the basketball, goes inside, gives it to Templeman. Templeman back to Sparks. Sparks on the low right side, gives it off to Slicker. Slicker tipped from behind, keeps control of the ball, and then throws it away, but unable to keep it from going out of bounds with Chip Barnes. 1 step away from getting the turnover, and with that, Coach Young will call timeout. Still working out a way. He's got 60 ticks left on the clock to try and hold on to a 4-point lead. Will they do it or will they not? We'll be back after this timeout and let you know.
Shop, the home of Good Sport Clothing and Equipment. For Good Sports, from Good Sports, at the Sportsman Shop, 126 East Main, downtown Crawfordsville. Baker Gould Body and Paint. Free estimates and insurance jobs welcome. See Richard Baker or Don Gould at 607 Waynetown Road in Crawfordsville. Boots Brothers F&F Marts, open 24 hours for groceries, top, Shell gasoline, and Tesla's Car Wash. 2 locations in Crawfordsville plus Waveland and Waynetown.
We are back at North Montgomery where the Chargers lead 60-56. They inbound the ball in backcourt. Coming out of the timeout with the ball, that is John Ratcliffe.
Thank you very much, Tom. I was trying to work the phones and get an update on the IU score for everybody who has been very interested here, and I know interested listening to the ball game. But my illustrious slug roommate, Mr. Perkins, has had the phone tied up for about the last 15 minutes, so I can't call him. Mr. Harris's phone is now answering on the recorder, so we'll keep on trying. We got the last score we got from Greg Warren, so we'll see if we can get Greg recalled or something and get the score back for you as the time goes on. Anyway, the foul on Zionsville was on Patrick Mulheron. It's his second, and it sends Ratcliffe to the free throw line where he makes the first and misses the second. 61-56 is our score. Zionsville pulls down the rebound. 50 seconds to go. Into the front court on the left-hand dribble. Here comes Monk. Monk changes hands. Top of the circle. Down on the blocks. Here's Mulheron. Shot up good. Mulheron hits his first bucket of the ball game to make it a 3-point, one-possession contest, and Zionsville calls timeout. I have Zionsville with 1 timeout remaining and North Montgomery with 1 timeout remaining, and that's what our referees have indicated. We'll take one quick 30-second timeout. We're still trying to get that IU score, folks. It's 61-58 here at North Montgomery.
Lead 61-59. They were inbounding the ball, facing a full court trap. Inbounding the ball, John Sparks. He gets it back to BJ, looking for the foul. The ball's brought up quickly to Sean Ratcliffe.
All right, once again, trying to track that score down. Can't get it done. We'll get it by the end of the game, folks. North Montgomery with the ball, playing keep away. Down to the lower side on the blocks. Ratcliffe has the ball stripped away from him. We'll just have to get Troy or somebody back at the station to call somebody. Maybe you got a number, Troy. If you got a friend watching the ball game, give him a call real quick. We'll let you break in with a score. As North plays it in, here's going to be a traveling call on North Montgomery. Ratcliffe takes the inlet pass and drags the pivot foot before the shot goes up. And with 28 seconds to go, Zionsville can tie with a 3. As we're down again, as we mentioned, a one-possession ball game.
And Zionsville, Jeff, 1 of 10 from three-point range on the night. The lone three-point shot made, Brandon Monk. That was earlier this quarter. He is 1 of 2 for the game.
A couple of subs in the ball game as both coaches go to some strategy here. Steve Sumner checks back in for Zionsville. Templeman back in for North Montgomery. Down to 21 seconds. The Eagles play it in. Down here below us on the right wing, this is Brandon Monk. Puts the ball on the floor, stops his dribble, goes to Stevens, 4-3, good. Brad Stevens ties it up at 61. Here's North Montgomery. They got 10 seconds to go. Sparks into the front court. Dumps it off to Slicker. Slicker to the left side. Fires up a shot. It's off the iron. It's no good. And the buzzer sounds. We're going to overtime. North Montgomery had a good shot at it at the end of regulation, but could not make it fall as Brad Stevens ties it up with about 15 seconds to go, and we're heading for OT. The third time this season the Chargers are going to an extra period. Their first game of the season, they lost to Seeger, and in the middle of the season, they lost to Crawfordsville, both in overtime.
6 out of 26 from the field for Brad Stevens. He picked the perfect opportunity to connect. Although he played so poorly the whole game, he ended up connecting on 3 of his last 5 and 3 out of 6 from the field in that fourth quarter.
North Montgomery again, 4-6 on the year after winning a big game last night against North Putnam here at home, 88-85. Zionsville is 4 now, not the 3 minutes that we used to see previously to this season. We will also jump the ball up at center as we'll start basically a new quarter. Both teams also get an extra timeout. So both teams right now have 2 timeouts to use during the course of this 4-minute period. We'll set everybody up at midcourt. It's going to be Jeff Brown jumping against Sparks for North Montgomery. There's the whistle. The ball is up, and the all-important overtime tip is controlled by the Eagles. With the basketball between the jump circles, starting it off on the offense is Brandon Monk. Looking inside, they get the ball to Stevens. Stevens forces up a shot. He hit the 3 to tie the ball game up. He can't make this one go. And as Stevens grabs the offensive rebound, he's going to be fouled by Kevin Templeman, and Templeman will exit the ball game seconds into the overtime period. Templeman on the night finishes with 7 points. He fouls out with 3:48 to go in OT. He becomes the first player, Tom, to leave the game by way of disqualification and fouls.
He's going to foul out. He's going to sit down. Another good night for Kevin Templeman. 2 of 2 from the field, 3 for 3 from the line, and 3 offensive boards.
At the free throw line, shooting the bonus for the Eagles is 6'3" senior Brad Stevens. Stevens had only 1 field goal in the entire first half, but had a great second half with 13 second half points and a total of 19. First free throw good. Second free throw also good as he goes over the 20 mark now for the night to give Zionsville the lead back, 63-61, the first lead they've had in quite some time. Fuller with the basketball for North. Down to Slicker on the block. Shot up off the iron, no good. Ball loose. Sparks can't handle it. Zionsville controls it. Stevens has it. Stevens is fouled.
And he is not the person you want to foul, Jeff. He is 8 out of 8 at the line. The team 15 of 19 from the line. North Montgomery is only 9 of 14. North hit only 6 of 11 free throws in that fourth quarter.
Looking back through my shot charts, Tom, the last lead that Zionsville had was 27-26 after the first shot of the third quarter. At the line, Stevens marches and fires. First 3 points now of the overtime have been scored by the Eagles. We played 30 seconds. Stevens on the spin, fires and makes it. And we're going to have a whistle and a North Montgomery substitution. Checking in, Edwards. Checking out will go Sparks with the 4 fouls. Again, it's a 4-point Zionsville lead now on the heels of 4. Brad Stevens free throws. Stevens also tied the game up at the end of regulation with a monster 3-point field goal. North Montgomery with a basketball. Here is Edwards, high right wing. Passes it entry into Guinn. Guinn looks to fire, doesn't, gives it to Slicker. Slicker now post down low to Fuller. Fuller's shot is batted away, and Zionsville comes up with control of it. Stevens has it. Stevens dribbles around the 10-second line, gets into the front court, stops his dribble, goes off to Brandon Monk. Monk puts it on the floor. Guarded closely by Edwards. Stays on the dribble. We've played a minute of the overtime. Giving the ball off to Mulherron. Mulherron now gives the ball back to Stevens between the jump circles, as Zionsville now, with a 4-point lead, will want to run some time off this clock. Down to the blocks. This is Monk. Won't shoot. Goes down inside to Stevens. Stevens will shoot. Changes hands. Fires it off the glass for 2. Brad Stevens has owned the last 2 minutes of playing time. He has given his Eagles a 6-point lead and brought them literally from the brink of disaster. And now a great defensive play by Zionsville's Steve Sumner has forced a traveling violation on North Montgomery, and the turnover will give the ball back to the Eagles with 2:33 to go in overtime. Timeout call by North Montgomery. They have fallen behind in overtime by 6 points now. We'll be back with more action in OT after this.
Fox Family Restaurant features 30 different sandwiches on their menu, all of which can be served alone or as a...
Any vice presidents out there who save money at County Market? Hey, we're cooking. Compare the bottom line. If you are saving lots of money at County Market, maybe you should be listening to the beat of a different drummer.
Bad news everywhere. IU is getting thumped right now. 2 minutes to go in the game. They're down by 11, 71-60. The Pacers are losing by a dozen points in the fourth quarter at home, and North Montgomery is now down by 6 in overtime as the wheels have fallen off the basketball buggies here, Tom. The foul on North Montgomery.
Told you a long time ago we should just cancel tonight.
Should have fogged out tonight.
I don't even know it's foggy outside. We still should have fogged it out.
Well, it was real foggy. I understand. I know Coach Young and Coach Young's wife said that it was really foggy coming down from Lafayette earlier I guess it was early this evening. At the line after the foul on Edwards goes Brandon Monk. First free throw good. Second free throw does 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 laps on the iron and falls down. 69 now to 61. 2:20 to go. North Montgomery's got to get into a hurry up. Edwards puts it on the floor, stops. We got a whistle. We got a foul away from the action. And guess what? It's going on North Montgomery. on an illegal screen.
And Dave Young just turns away towards his players, away from the floor, puts his hands to his face, and just wants to know what happened. The wheels have absolutely come off the Charger Express here in the overtime. It's an 8-0 run, and they just seem to foul the wrong guys. They have fouled the men who do nothing but make all their free throws.
Well, Brad Stevens at one point had made 9 straight points for Zionsville. After that, however, free throws were made by Monk. The next free throw, though, is no good. North Montgomery's got the rebound and still 2 minutes to work with. So an 8-point margin is not all that much. You know, if you're a North fan, considering it the other way. Here's a 3-point shot and down by Craig Edwards. Edwards works off a screen and hits his first field goal of the night to make it 69-64. That was a 3-point field goal. And now we'll have a foul in backcourt, and the foul is going to go on, guess who, Craig Edwards. So he gets his first bucket and then picks up his disqualification foul. He leaves with 1:54 to go in OT. That 3-point field goal, as we mentioned, that he just made is his only score of the night.
Yeah, 1 out of 5 from the floor for the night, and here's if North, if they can get Zionsville to miss, they're right back in this game.
Templeman and Edwards now out for North Montgomery here with less than 2 minutes to go in the first overtime period. At the free throw line for Zionsville goes 6-foot junior Brandon Monk. His first is good. His second is also good. He is 4 for 4 from the line in the overtime.
He is 6 for 6 from the line in the game.
71-64 is the score. North Montgomery trails. They've got the ball here in OT. Slicker for 3 on the right side. Good. B.J. Slicker now makes it a 71-67 ball game, and that's how you get back into ball games. You hit those threes. Zionsville, though, has been hitting their free throws. Monk on the ball. Gives it off now. Stops his dribble to Brown. Back on top it goes to Monk. Monk looking down underneath. He's got a man open. This is Sumner. Sumner's shot no good. Rebound goes to Slicker. Slicker gives the ball to Sparks. Sparks into the front court on the dribble. Looking at Slicker. Oh, my, what a long 3-point shot. From a mile away, the rebound is tipped around, not controlled. It's off the fingertips of Zionsville, and it'll be North Montgomery ball. Tom, that 3-point field goal was 6 feet outside the ring.
That's right, and it wasn't really necessary. BJ could have taken a full step in, and he'd have been more in his range. He probably would have made it from there if he gets himself hot.
North plays the ball in. Sparks to Slicker. Slicker into the paint. Drops it off. On the layup. Good. Jason Guinn on the feed. It's now a 71-69 contest, and we have 1:01, 1 minute to go in overtime. Monk brings the ball into the front court for Zionsville. You see how fast things can switch in high school basketball. Stevens, ball on his hip at the 10-second line. Now picked up by Fuller. Dribbles twice, stops, gives it to Mulheron. Back on top, it goes to Stevens.
Look for Zionsville to keep the ball in the hands of both Monk and Stevens, both perfect from the line, a combined 16 of 16.
Stevens stops his dribble. North tries to pinch him at midcourt. Can't get it done. Stevens gets the ball back and reestablishes his dribble. He's in the center jump circle. 30 seconds to go and counting. Zionsville is up by 2 in the first overtime period, 71-69. Mulheron gives the ball back off to Stevens. Stevens guarded closely by Sparks. Dribbles out of traffic. 15 seconds now. The clock moving. And now we've got a whistle and a foul as Fuller gives up his third personal foul to stop the clock with exactly 15 ticks left on the first overtime clock.
And I tell you, North Montgomery went a long time. They needed really to slide off and deny allowing either Monk or Stevens to get their hands back on the ball. And when the ball would go over to somebody else like Pettibone, who has not even attempted a shot, let alone a free throw tonight, that's the guy that when he has the ball, someone like that, that's when you want to make the foul. You don't want to foul the guys who are perfect at the line.
Well, they're sending a perfect free throw shooter to the stripe. That is Brandon Monk. Monk's first free throw is off the mark. No good. The rebound is to Slicker. 12 seconds and counting. North down by a bucket. 71-69. Sparks to the front court. Top of the circle. 7-6. Looking for Slicker. He's got him. He lays it up, and the bucket is good. We're tied. 2 seconds. 1, and there's the buzzer. We're going to overtime number 2. A great entry pass by John Sparks finds B.J. Slicker open underneath, and Slicker lays it off the glass to tie it up at 71, and we're heading for overtime number 2. We'll be back in about a half minute for overtime period number 2. We're tied up 4 points and 22 rebounds. Heading for overtime number 2. The tip is up, and once again, as in the first overtime period, controlled by Zionsville. Boy, did that extra minute make all the difference in the world for North Montgomery. They'd been beaten by about 5 had it not been. Here's the first shot of the second overtime period. It's up and down by Brandon Monk. What a great second half and overtime he has had. That makes the score 73-71. Here's North into the lane. Shot up by Fuller is no good. The rebound is pulled down by Guinn. His shot is also no good. And the carom is pulled down by Brad Stevens. And we have a whistle, and we've got a timeout. We've got an injury timeout. One of the Zionsville guys has taken a header to the floor. And we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not even going to guess. Anyway, we got a sub in. I won't even guess. We'll play it back in. We'll get a number on it when we can. With a basketball for Zionsville, leading by 2. Monk has it, top of the circle, gives it off to Stevens. We'll go by the process of elimination. He'll skip it down on the blocks to Brown. Brown changes hands, puts up a shot, rolls it in for 2. Jeff Brown has his first points of the overtime, as now North tries to work the ball quickly down the floor in a long pass. Slicker looking for McCormick. The pass is off his hands and out of bounds.
That's the third turnover between the two the two overtimes for the Chargers. Zionsville has turned the ball over only once in the extra period.
We played a minute of the sixth period, and North Montgomery trails Zionsville 75-71. Stevens with the ball. He's really had the hot hand here in the second half and overtime. He gets the return pass from Mulheron, putting it out on the left dribble, out to midcourt. He stops, as he is double teamed, gives the ball off now, off the dribble to Monk. Monk to Mulheron, down deep into the left corner for Zionsville, as they have run almost 30 seconds off the clock. Back out to the jump circle now, center jump circle, that's Monk. Monk gives it to Steven. Steven now guarded closely by McCormick. Now Slicker will get over and double team him. 2:25 to go, clock running. Brown open underneath, layup good. On a great pass from Steven. Brown has his second bucket of the second overtime to make it 77-71, 2:15 to go and counting here in the second overtime period. And now North Montgomery will have another timeout, another turnover and call timeout. A zig instead of zag, and a pass ended up out in the band. And with 2:09 to go, the Chargers give it away. They're down by 6. We'll be back with more second overtime action after the
first overtime. With 2:25 remaining, it was a 69-61 advantage. North Montgomery came from behind to tie that up and send it into second overtime at 71. Since then, it's been 6 straight points by the Zionsville Eagles and a couple of quick turnovers by North Montgomery, which gives Zionsville the 6-point lead and the ball.
And the ball with 2:05 to go, as Tom said. Thank you very much. Couldn't quite get a catch-up on the score from IU, as we'll play the ball back in. Tipped out of bounds on the pass. It'll be Zionsville ball. The Eagles play it in. Brown has it. By the way, the injured player for Zionsville was Chip Barnes. The 6-foot senior has a pretty badly sprained left ankle. I would say his return is highly unlikely. On the ball, here's Mulheron. Mulheron is fouled by McCormick. McCormick gives up his second foul, and Mulheron will go to the line.
Mulheron has not attempted a free throw yet tonight. From the field, he is only 1 out of 5.
Leading scorer right now for Zionsville is Brad Stevens with 25. Jeff Brown has, I'm going to check it real quick because the free throw is no good by Mulheron. I believe he has got 26, for Brown, the leading scorer. On the rebound, North Montgomery down by 6, 77-71, down into their end of the floor. Here's a long three by Slicker. It's no good. The ball tipped around and finally controlled by Monk of Zionsville. Into the front court. Monk stays on the dribble. Now stopped. Guarded closely by Spark. Goes right side off to Mulheron. Mulheron is guarded closely and then finally fouled by Jason McCormick, who picks up his third foul. It'll send Mulheron back to the free throw line where a moment ago he missed on the front end of the 1-and-1.
That's a good person to foul. Obviously, you don't want to be fouling Monk and you don't want to foul Stevens. You really don't want to foul Jeff Brown either. He's also 2 out of 2. Anybody but those 3, as long as you're still in a position where you can choose who you foul. At some point, if North doesn't start hitting at the other end, they are going to have to foul almost anybody.
Mulheron's first free throw is up and down. On the night, he now has 3 points, and that gives Zionsville the 78-71 lead. North Montgomery has not scored as of yet in this second overtime period. At the free throw line, second free throw is also good for Mulheron. As North Montgomery's got to go quickly into their offensive end of the floor. Down now by 8 points. They need a bunch. Here's McCormick into the lane. Shot partially tipped by Brown. The ball loose, finally controlled by Mulherrin of Zionsville. We're down to 1:05 to go and counting. Steven on the ball. Guarded in backcourt. Now guarded too closely as John Sparks will foul out with 1:05 to go in the second overtime period. He will leave the ball game with only 2 points on the night. Again, I note the last report we had, IU was losing with 2 minutes to go in the ball game, 71-60. We'll try and get a final on that score maybe when we get done with our overtime periods here. As going to the free throw line for Zionsville will be 6'3" senior Brad Stevens. As we noted earlier, he and Jeff Brown are racing for game-high scoring honors. Stevens has 25, Brown has 26.
Stevens has 10 of his points at the free throw line.
And a whole bunch of them have come in the last minute of regulation and in the 2 overtime periods. And he has one more. 80-71. Tom, we were tied 8-8 at the end of the first quarter. Second free throw. Also good. It's a 10-point game now. North Montgomery has a minute to make up a 10-point margin. Here's a fire, 4-3. It's no good. Jack Whitecotton in the ball game. His shot is no good. As we mentioned, B.J. Slicker has the putback for 2. 81-73. Backcourt pressure by North. Stevens breaks it, brings it into the front court. Fuller will go out and pick him up. Pass to the left side goes to Monk. Monk now is guarded up close by Whitecotton, and Whitecotton will pick up the foul. Jack Whitecotton, the 6'2" sophomore, sees his first moments in the ball game as a result of the second foul out of the second guard by North Montgomery. Sparks and Edwards both out, so Whitecotton forced into action here.
And barring a major comeback in the last 38 seconds, North Montgomery again is not going to be able to pick up a double-win weekend.
At the free throw line is Brandon Monk. Monk's first free throw is good. Going to have a sub coming in. Ryan Pettibone is going to see, I believe, his first action of the ball game. Monk on the night. 2 free throws in the first half, but 13, make it 14 points, and 15 points now in the second half to give his team now that comfortable 10-point lead again, 83-73. Here's Fuller for 3, front of the iron, no good. Guinn on the follow, it's no good. Rebound pulled down by Zionsville, and the board goes to Steve Sumner. Sumner to Monk. Monk across the timeline. It's about all over, folks. 20 seconds and counting. Monk gives the ball off and gets it back, establishes his dribble, now stops it. 15 seconds to go. Stevens with the ball, and North Montgomery will not pressure it any farther. 10 seconds, 9. Stevens has it, puts it on the floor. 8, 7, 6. This one's going to be done in just a couple of ticks. Zionsville is going to win this ball game in 2 overtime periods. Our final score, 83-73 in double overtime. The Zionsville Eagles win here at North Montgomery and even their record at 5-5. It took 2 extra periods, and the Eagles were trailing late in the contest with only about a minute and a half to go in regulation. It was a 5-point North Montgomery lead, and then 9 consecutive points in regulation and overtime by Brad Stevens does the trick. Stevens hits a 3-point field goal with about 12 seconds to go in regulation to send the game to the first overtime. He had 6 points in the first overtime. North has to hit a field goal at the buzzer at the end of the first overtime to the second extra period, and the second extra 4 minutes belongs strictly to